With auto, home, life, and financial services, Care Heilbron and her team make it simple to bring together what matters to you.
When we transform Nebraska corn into ethanol, it doesn't disappear from the food supply. It just takes a little detour. Ethanol is made from the starch. The rest of the corn becomes livestock feed to create meat and dairy products, corn oil, sweetener, and other food ingredients, and maybe a little carbon dioxide to make your soft drinks fizzy. Homegrown ethanol helps satisfy America's hunger for energy and the world's appetite for feed and food. Nebraska's family corn farmers, sustaining innovation.
Class B Nebraska football playoff. Sure glad to have you watching tonight on KNEB.TV, Allo Channel 15, and Mobius Channel 1500. And, of course, listening to our radio broadcast on 101.7 The Trail and online, as always, at KNEB.com. Mike Holly away on assignment this weekend, so Jeff Kelly joins me for the broadcast tonight. We'll bring Jeff in here in just a moment. For Scottsbluff, it's been a season of living up to the expectations. 9-0 after a district title clinching home win over McCook last week here at home. 23-13 was the final, and that secured Scottsbluff the number 2 seed for this year's Class B bracket. Scottsbluff outstanding in all 3 phases of the game, and the win over the Bison, playing their best game of the year to date. Obviously, it's been a year of change in Class B. The entire class shrunk to just 23 teams. That means only 7 Class B schools missed out on playoff football. The majority of the lower seeds this year would not be in the postseason in years past, and that includes the Ralston Rams here tonight. Ralston's record just 4-5, and they've lost 4 straight games coming into this one, having been outscored 177-46 in those contests, and that includes a 50-0 loss to Class B top seed Omaha Scott. As mentioned, my partner Jeff Kelly, our voice of the Gehring Bulldogs again this season. Jeff, great to have you along tonight. Looking forward to this Class B opener for Scottsbluff. And look, despite the high seed for Scottsbluff and Ralston coming in on that 4-game losing streak, this is why you play. I know it's a cliche, but this is why you play the football games. The ball bounces funny ways, and we've seen Scottsbluff as a higher seed in years past fall at home in a game like this. So Ralston, they come out here on a 4-game slide, but brand new slate here in the postseason. Anything's possible.
Exactly. In 2011, these two teams met up here at Bearcat Stadium. Scottsbluff the higher seed, and Ralston came away with the win 14-12. A close game there. A couple of years later, Scottsbluff was the number 1 seed. York was the number 16 seed. York beat Scottsbluff that year to knock the number 1 seed off. Scottsbluff's record in the playoffs the last 8 years, 2-6. So nothing is assured when you get to this time of the year.
Very talented Bearcat roster here this season. We'll see if they can start to right some of those years past and get into a playoff win column. Also in Class B, already underway, Alliance at York. Other Class B round 1 games, Bennington at top seed Scott. 8-9 matchup with Blair hosting Northwest. Lexington in the playoffs. They're at Waverly tonight. McCook dropped to the 4 seed with that loss to the Bearcats last week. They're hosting Hastings. Norris is at Seward. Jeff, you saw Seward earlier this season, and you're pretty impressed with their quarterback, and they might be a team that can make some noise.
Their quarterback's very good. I think he got a walk-on offer from Nebraska. but it could be interesting the next round if York wins and Seward wins. That'd be a good matchup, but their quarterback, Joe Kraus, is definitely the real deal.
Roncalli hosting Mount Michael Benedictine, and the winner of that one takes on the winner of our game here tonight. A Scottsbluff win, an Omaha Roncalli win tonight, and we'd be right back here at Bearcat Stadium next Friday night. Coming up next here on the pregame show, we'll get to coaches' comments. Joe Benson of Scottsbluff in just a little while, but when we come back, we check in with Ralston head coach Jason Frink. That's right after this on KNEB.
You can depend on us and all of the affiliates of the Rural Radio Network to give you up-to-the-second coverage on issues related to agriculture. On the air, online, and on your phone. We're advocates for agriculture, along with being broadcast journalists covering the stories and events encompassing the challenges of feeding America and the world in the 21st century. And we're proud to do it for you, the stations of the Rural Radio Network.
Care Heilbronn, State Farm agent, is here to protect all the moving parts of your life. With auto, home, life, and financial services, Care Heilbronn and her team make it simple to bring together what matters to you.
Find out what convenient really means at the Western Travel Terminal. Start with our great selection of food and drinks, from for real milkshakes and fresh brewed coffee to snacks and hot food. Next, check out our beer and spirits with their everyday low prices. Finally, let us work for you with our full-service gas station and automatic truck and car wash. All this can be found at 822 South Beltline in Scottsbluff. Western Travel Terminal, your convenient shopping, restaurant, and full-service gas leader.
Regional West is one of 3 Level 2 trauma centers in Nebraska.
We have all the resources here 24 hours a day to address any traumatic injury.
From emergency medical services to advanced medical imaging and surgery to acute care and rehabilitation.
It's comforting to know that if an accident happens here, our families, our friends, our neighbors, and even we ourselves will get expert trauma care and rehabilitation services right here at Regional West.
Back on the pregame show here tonight on KNEB ahead of kickoff. Back on the pregame show here tonight on KNEB ahead of kickoff with Scottsbluff and Ralston at Bearcat Stadium. Let's get to pregame coaches' comments. We'll start with Ralston head man Jason Frink.
Coach, first and foremost, thanks a lot for the time. Congrats on being in the postseason this year. And obviously, in most years, you'd kind of be checking gear back in and starting to think a little bit about the offseason and your plans. But with the reconfigured Class B this season, you guys are in the playoffs. Tell me a little bit about your football team.
Really excited about our opportunity to, head out to Scottsbluff. Actually, I think we were out there, I believe 5 years ago. We were out there playing you guys. So it's a trip we've worked familiar with. Our players maybe not necessarily, but our coaches have made the trip a time or two that direction. So really excited about the opportunity and the challenge that we have in front of us playing a very good Scottsbluff team.
Yeah, you guys came out here and sprung a little upset on a highly touted Bearcat team. I think that was 2012, got the upset. You guys started this year with 3 straight wins, won 4 of your first 5 games, but it's been a little bit of a struggle here down the stretch in district play. You went 0-4. What's the key to making these guys believe they can get back and win a football game as you head to the postseason?
Well, the message has been the same throughout both streaks. I think with young kids these days, is being as consistent as you can be with them, and keep that message as positive as you can, and just continue to build. We have an interesting mix of both youth and experience on our team, and trying to get that to blend, is a challenge as a coach. But I've been really excited to see the growth, both out of our experienced kids and to see, as many as a dozen sophomores playing at any given time.
Looking at this schedule, even these last 4 games that have wound up in the loss column, Scott 9-0, Norris 5-4, Waverly 7-2. So I'm guessing you think your schedule's probably kind of set you up to be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that we've always had to deal with around here. We don't set our schedule; the state does. Our kids finally kind of understand that part of it, so we continue to grow and get better.
Looking at, and you hate to scout stat lines, but just that's some of what I'm going off of here. Looking, you kind of spread things out a little bit, passing and running, offensive philosophy-wise. What would you hang your hat on, Coach?
A lot of it revolves around our outstanding play of our quarterback in Isaac Donnell. He's done a really nice job, I think, as you've mentioned, in regards to spreading the ball around. I think he's got touchdowns to 7 different receivers or something like that. And, it seems like one game where they may shut one guy down, we have another guy step up, and make some plays for us. But, and then in the backfield, we've got, 3 different guys that we use quite a bit back there, led by DeMicah Burton and Gabriel James. We've also had some young kids start to step up that we're excited to see the future on them, and they may get a shot to get some snaps this Friday coming up.
Yeah, talking about your quarterback Donnell, he protects the football fairly well. He's only thrown the 2 interceptions, got double-digit touchdown passes. Yeah, there's a kid that has grown so much in a year. Last year, he really, you almost would flip those numbers. And he's learned to take care of the football. He's pretty mobile. One stat line that we're working on in the last few weeks has been, making sure that our line takes a little better care of him in the sack stats. Yeah, it looks like he rushes it a good amount. It looks like you've done a pretty good job of spreading some of these rushing attempts out. You've got him and Burton both up over 100. What type of running style do you guys employ?
It's one of those deals where we're spread by philosophy, but I'm kind of an old school guy in regards to I still like to see a fullback and a tight end. So we still will run up the middle and not to the extent that Scottsbluff does, but we like to spread the ball around, get it inside, get it outside, keep the defense as much on their toes as we can.
Obviously, it's been a great year for Scottsbluff, 9-0, undefeated. Got the huge win at home against McCook last week. When you pop the film on, how impressed are you with what you're seeing from this Bearcats team?
I'm really impressed with the team energy that I see. The kids, the way they fly around, they truly look like they're a bunch of kids really having a lot of fun, and that's really what this game needs to be about. A lot of times we forget about that part of the aspect of the game and having fun, and we can get down to X's and O's and this and that sort of thing, but when it comes down to it, when kids do what Scottsbluff has been doing consistently over Coach Benson's tenure out there, those kids are hard-nosed and they fly around and have a lot of fun.
What's the number one thing you kind of are worrying yourself with this week? They've got 2-3 different kids that can take it to the house on any different running play offensively, put up monster numbers, both scoring, rushing the football, but defensively, shut out McCook in half number 2, and they give up around 10 points a game. Where's your number one focus this week as you prep your Rams?
We're really balanced in a lot of different ways. We look at it, where can we attack, whether it's via special teams. Their defense is, it's fun to watch because they do a lot of things that you see, at the next level in regards to showing different fronts and that sort of thing. And then obviously offensively, when you've got the explosiveness and, you've got a state track kid and another in the 100, and then you got another kid that ran, won the 200 for you. Those are obviously some invaluable weapons. And then you throw in a kid like Garrett Nelson, who, as the head wrestling coach too, got to see him, the last few years down at the state meet, and he's a lot of fun to watch on the mat too.
Finishing up with Jason Frink, head football coach for Ralston, ahead of kickoff here tonight. Coach, we'll get you out of here on this one. What's it going to take? Just factor out the long trip out and all those things. I know you're trying to focus on football on the field here tonight. What are the number 1 or 2 things that you guys have to do to have a shot in this thing late?
Really, we need to take care of the football. And we need to have a few good things early happen in the game, whether it's via turnovers or something along those lines. Play lights out on defense, and like you said, keep it close, and then have your opportunity late to make a play.
Ralston head football coach Jason Frink on the pregame show. On the way next, Joe Benson of Scottsbluff when we come back on KNEB. Back on the pregame show here tonight on KNEB.
Local
Logos in Gearing is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees, and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gearing.
No matter what job I've got to do, my John Deere 5E tractor can do it all. Whether I'm cutting, moving feed, or building a fence. Using my 5E means my work gets done faster at a price I can afford, and that works for me.
Visit 21st Century Equipment in Alliance, Torrington, Scottsbluff, and Bridgeport, or visit 21stcenturyequipment.com.
Steve Lathrop earned the Omaha World Herald endorsement. He showed impressive leadership and energy. He brought people together on complex issues. Lathrop's skills are valuable at a time when consensus building is vital. Community leaders agree.
We trust Steve. He'll work hard to keep our neighborhood safe.
Fight for our students and public education.
Lower our taxes and healthcare costs.
He'll work with both sides to get things done.
I'm Steve Lathrop, and I would appreciate your vote.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.
Time to visit with Scottsbluff head football coach Joe Benson here on KNEB.
Coach, we'll have time for Ralston here in a few minutes, but man, what a night it was last Friday, and I know you're not going to be much into this. I know how much you respect Jeff Gross at McCook. I know how much that win had to mean to you. Congratulations. What a performance from you, your staff, and your entire roster of kids last Friday night.
Yeah, we played great. I mean, you look back on it, and it was really good performance from offense, defense, and special teams, but like we told them all week leading up to the game, it's just the beginning, not the end. So I think the kids have handled that well. They enjoyed the win, but they went right back to work on Monday.
Chris Busby, what can you say? That was a big-time performance in a big-time game, in a game that was when the field was full of really tough young men. He was the man among all those young men, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. That's the best I've ever seen Chris play, and that might be one of the best running back performances I've ever seen at Scottsbluff.
Yeah, McCook came in averaging, giving up just 63 yards a game. He ripped him for over 200. When a running back's putting in work like that, you know the offensive line's also putting in work. Was that their best performance of the year?
Yeah, it was. We were right on point. I thought, we had a couple of games in there. I thought Sterling we were shaky, and I thought Lexington we were shaky. And the good thing is you learn from those games technique-wise, and Coach Deaver had them ready to go, and they were up for the big challenge because McCook obviously was very physical.
So last Wednesday at practice, Mark Moran said Jake McClain is a tremendous defensive coordinator and would have a great plan in place. After the win on the post-game show, Coach Hall told me the same thing about how Coach McClain sees things. So it's starting to bubble to the top of how good Coach McClain is calling things on the defensive side of the football. What makes him such a good coach?
Yeah, I think he's an anticipator. I think he watches so much film and he anticipates what they're going to do before they do it. I think that's a big part of it. And the other thing is he's user-friendly. The kids really love him, and that makes it easy to coach.
Boy, the real swing in momentum felt like right before halftime. Coach Gross called the timeout, preserve a little time, get the ball back. Maybe they could take a couple of shots with under a minute. A little bit of a low punt, round up, hitting one of their would-be blockers. You fall on it. You have the wild scene down around the goal line. You go for the fake field goal on third down, second left. Caleb kicks the field goal. Boy, what was the mood like at halftime in the locker room after you went ahead?
It was positive, and that's always a good momentum boost when you can score right before the second half. begins. That was a big play. Of course, nobody else will admit it, but the PAT fake was actually, if we'd have thrown it to the other guy, he was wide open. There was nobody within 10 yards of him. That actually was a little bit unfortunate. We could have had 4 more points there, but it was good to get 3.
When you get a win like that against a team like that, after having a long stretch of games where maybe you weren't really tested or challenged, what does that do for a group of kids? I mean, I know this is a confident bunch, but that has to breed some more confidence and start to make them feel even a little bit better about what they can accomplish.
Yeah, well, the thing is we haven't played at that speed the entire year because we haven't been forced to, and I think that's what it does, is it teaches you to play at that speed.
More with Joe Benson right after this on KNEB. Time to visit with Scottsbluff head football.
At Platte Valley Bank, we understand that you have a busy life, and that means you don't always have time to come to the bank. That's why we offer user-friendly online and mobile banking with features such as iPay, recurring transfers, and mobile deposit. So you can bank how you want, when you want to. Whether you prefer to bank in person, over the phone, or online, Platte Valley Bank makes it easy to take care of your finances.
Anyone who calls it a hobby doesn't understand. We know that a person's passion is what drives them. And that's why every memorial we create is a true reflection of the individual. Only a Dignity Memorial professional can celebrate a life like no other. Find out how at dignitynebraska.com.
Care Heilbronn, State Farm agent, is here to protect all the moving parts of your life. With auto, home, life, and financial services, Care Heilbronn and her team make it simple to bring together what matters to you.
Have you heard the exciting news? Western Nebraska Regional Airport will be offering flights with United Airlines operated by SkyWest beginning January 30th, 2018. What's even better? You'll get to earn and use your United points. Reservations with United are now available, plus all United miles can be earned and redeemed with all flights. While you're at Western Nebraska Regional Airport, grab a bite to eat at the Flight Deck restaurant, plus Hearst Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. So make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Back to wrap it all up now with pregame coaches' comments, finishing with Scottsbluff coach Joe Benson.
Now let's move to tonight's matchup, round 1 with Ralston. I know one thing you don't want to hear about is an underdog in Ralston coming out this direction, because that didn't play out so well a few years back. What can you tell us about this 4-5 Rams team?
Quarterback is outstanding, really good running back, good receiver. They got a good kick return team. They're very capable of putting up points. I think we're faster than they are, so that's kind of my take on them right now.
They look like they kind of spread things out as far as their formations offensively.
They do. They'll end up being in some empty, some one back and some two backs. They're 60-40 running to throwing, but we anticipate more of 50-50 against us.
What do you look at when you're seeing defensively? What do they do well? Where do they maybe pose a little bit of a challenge for you?
Well, they're a gambling defense. They blitz a lot. They end up being in a 4 or a 5-man front, depending on down and distance. So you got to be ready for it.
I know you said practice last week to the team after the Wednesday workout, regardless of how things finished against McCook, it was just going to be the beginning, not the end of anything. Obviously, they're having to take that same approach. What'd you tell the team right after the game when you met? I'm sure you delivered a congratulatory message, but you also probably delivered a message about how to start to approach things immediately for the playoffs.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. We talked to them about obviously a tremendous win versus McCook, but then it's just the beginning, and we got to go to work on Monday, and the kids have done that. We've had a good week of practice.
And we'll get you out of here on this one, wrapping up with Scottsbluff head football coach Joe Benson ahead of kickoff tonight, round one game against Ralston. Coach, what's it take to get a win tonight? What are some keys? Our key to the game brought to you by Team Auto Center, where you get that lifetime warranty with every new vehicle purchase. Coach, what's it take to move on to round two?
Well, we got to play with great enthusiasm first, and then continue to do what we've done all year, finish drives and then play great defense.
Joe Benson, head football coach for Scottsbluff. Kickoff approaching here at home tonight against the Ralston Rams. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Best of luck tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
We'll come back with more on the pregame show right after this on KNEB.
Back to wrap it all up now with pregame coach.
Monument Mall has been a huge part of the commercial retail market that has served the Scottsbluff Gearing area for well over 2 decades. Many have the misconception that leasing or renting a retail commercial space at Monument Mall is not affordable. On the contrary, our retail spaces have never been more affordable than now. Often having several spaces to choose from for rental or lease options, we have kiosks and retail merchandising units available for your needs to help your business thrive. So don't hesitate. Feel free to give us a call. For more information, please contact Krista Pelster, our property manager, at 308-632-6000.
Care Heilbronn, State Farm agent, is here to protect all the moving parts of your life. With auto, home, life, and financial services, Care Heilbronn and her team make it simple to bring together what matters to you.
There's a place where folks still play with fire. The common ground between backyard barbecue heroes and professional chefs. This is where friendships are forged, fire and flavor come together, and new techniques are perfected. Here in Big Green Egg Country, cooking is still treated as an art form. And since the most versatile grill you'll ever own comes with a lifetime warranty, you'll always have the ultimate cooking experience. Locate a dealer at biggreenegg.com.
Logos in 65 degrees, northwest wind around 10 to 15 miles per hour or so. Ralston won the toss. They deferred. Scottsbluff will get the football. Let's get to our starting lineups tonight, brought to you by Western Nebraska Community College. Fall classes are underway. You can always learn more at wncc.edu. We'll get to Scottsbluff's offensive unit shortly, but first I want to set things for this Ralston Rams defense. Our head coach is Jason Frink. Along their defensive line, Devin Botel, a 6'3", 190-pound sophomore. Andre Smith at 6'3", 300 pounds. He's a senior. Nathan Bourne, 6'2", 175, a junior. The linebacking core looks like this. Gabriel James, 5'9", 185, a senior. Another senior. Jordan Apreza Guzman at 6'1", 175. Jaron Paces, 5'9", 165. He's a junior. And the second of three sophomores that start defensively, Alex Strittmatter, a sophomore, 5'11", 195. Defensive backs, that third sophomore is Noah Talmadge, 5'7", 140. He's a sophomore. Demicah Burton on the corner spot, 5'10", 175. And rounding things out, Isaac Donnell, 6'2", 185, a senior, and Michael High, 5'10", 160, and a senior. That's a look at the starting lineup defensively. For the Ralston Rams, they come in 4-5, won 3 of their first 4 games, and they have dropped their final 4 games on the schedule. 4-5 against 9-0. We'll have opening kickoff, and we'll deliver those Scottsbluff starters on the offensive side of the football when we come back with Bearcats and the Rams here on KNEB right after this.
This is Mike. Mike likes his car. Mike likes to save money. And Mike likes to breathe. So Mike fills up with E15 with 15% American ethanol. The clean octane in E15 gives Mike the performance he wants from his engine and the clean air he wants for his family. Better yet, E15 costs less at the pump. Higher octane, cleaner air, lower cost. E15 sure gives Mike a lot to like.
For locations near you, go to huskerfuel.com.
You can depend on us and all of the affiliates of the Rural Radio Network to give you up-to-the-second coverage on issues related to agriculture. On the air, online, and on your phone. We're advocates for agriculture. along with being broadcast journalists, covering the stories and events encompassing the challenges of feeding America and the world in the 21st century. And we're proud to do it for you, the stations of the Rural Radio Network.
Steve Lathrop earned the Omaha World Herald endorsement. He showed impressive leadership and energy. He brought people together on complex issues. Lathrop's skills are valuable at a time when consensus building is vital. Community leaders agree.
We trust Steve.
He'll work hard to keep our neighborhood safe.
Fight for our students and public education.
Lower our taxes and healthcare costs.
He'll work with both sides to get things done.
I'm Steve Lathrop, and I would appreciate your vote.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.
Outstanding performance last Friday night here at home in that district title clinching win against the McCook Bison. The score was 23-13. Scottsbluff will get the football first. Our opening kickoff in just a moment. Always brought to you by Papa Murphy's Pizza at 2801 Avenue B in Scottsbluff, where it's love at 425 degrees. And don't forget to register for the Papa Murphy's Text Club for a sweet deal. Scottsbluff sets up with 3 men back deep. Reif Schneider, Chris Busby, and Jacob Krull. Ball is teed up at the 40, and we are underway. A high kick's going to come down to Jacob Krull at around the 3-yard line. Runs straight ahead, cuts out to the right. He's loose, still on his feet. Runs over a man. He fumbles the football. Or he stepped out of bounds. I think he stepped out and also lost the football. Great return. Scottsbluff will have it 1st and 10. It looks like at their own 41-yard line. Up front on the offensive line. Junior Kyler Count, 6 feet, 230. Terrence Mokiak, a 5'11", 225-pound junior. The center is Brandon Larson, a senior, 5'11", 230. Creighton Dyke, a guard, 5'10", 195, a junior. And the other tackle, Nathan Harms, 5'10", and 245. Backs and receivers in just a moment. That quarterback is 6'3", 220 pounds, Sebastian Harsh. They send a man in motion. Crossbuck action, it's Jacob Krull from his halfback spot across midfield. Inside the Ralston 45, inside the 40, tackled it around the 36-yard line. Pickup of 23 on that first play from scrimmage for Jacob Krull. He's the wingback, 5'9", 175, a junior. Garrett Nelson, Josiah Diolas, that offset, tight fullback, 6 feet, 205, a junior. Chris Busby, the Dynamo senior runner at 5'10", 175, had 223 yards rushing against that stout Bison defense a week ago and 3 long touchdowns. 1st and 10, Scottsbluff already on the move. Handoff goes to Busby running near side. Cutback run inside the 20. He takes it down to around the 13-yard line, a pickup of 22. 23-yard run from Krull on the first play of the night. Chris Busby comes right back with 22 yards, and Scottsbluff making some hay early, Jeff.
And this is just typical Scottsbluff. Just keep it on the ground, get what you can, but what set that up was the good kickoff return.
Ball on the left hash. 50 seconds gone by in the first quarter tonight. Busby to the left of Harsh. This is the design. Quarterback keep. Harsh to the corner at the 5. That's a 3-play scoring drive. Scottsbluff in high gear early on tonight. A 13-yard run for Sebastian Harsh, and the Cats waste no time getting on the scoreboard here tonight. 60 seconds in to this first-round playoff game. It's Harsh covering 13 yards, and that'll bring on Caleb Walker for the PAT. Walker's kick is up and good. 11 minutes to play in the first quarter. Scottsbluff leading Ralston 7-0 on the West Coast scoreboard.
3 plays, 51 seconds.
Local lending. We're here for you from start to finish. keeping money in our economy, supporting local jobs, giving back to our community, investing in entrepreneurship, making our quiet towns a destination. At Platte Valley Bank, we support local because we are local.
Chris Cottrell, Jeff Kelly with you. A big stick on the kick return by Evan Hagen, but the return man bounces out of the tackle. Rashad Madden takes it across the 20-yard line to the 22, and the Ralston Rams, after a long trip west, will have their offense on the field for the first time here tonight. They're led by senior quarterback Isaac Donnell, 985 yards passing. He's also run for over 300 yards on the season. Nice touchdown to interception ratio, 12-2, and he's got 5 touchdowns via the ground also. Demicah Burton, the main man in the backfield, 5'10", 175, a senior. They will spread things out. 2 receivers to each side, ball between the hash marks. Snap, shotgun, and Donnell's going to take to the air. A lob ball down the near side. Almost intercepted by Paris Magdaleno. Tight coverage, and the intended target was Michael High. 5'10", 160, a senior, and Magdaleno with him step for step.
Great play by Magdaleno to jump up right at the last minute, high point that ball, and keep it away from the receiver.
Got whistled for a pass interference last week. He's had a few this year, but it's tough when those balls are underthrown and the receiver stops and the defensive back runs into the receiver. That flag's coming every time. We were talking about that. He and I practiced a couple of days ago. An aggressive cover job that time from Magdaleno. 2nd down and 10. They hand it off on the fly sweep, running near side on the carry that time is Max Wells, a 5'8", 155-pound junior. Out of the slot, and Wells loses 1, and that'll make it 3rd down and 11. A 3-play, 51-yard scoring drive for Scottsbluff to start the game offensively, and now they look for a quick 3 and out on the defensive side of the football right now. 3rd down and 11. Football resting on the right hash at the 22-yard line for the Ralston Rams. Trips right, no backs, 2 receivers to the left. Garrett Nelson pins his ears back off the right edge, and he's coming. That pass intended for Demicah Burton off his fingertips on the right hand, incomplete. And a quick 3 and out. We are just a couple of minutes and change into this opening quarter. Scottsbluff's already scored. Now going to force a punt and get the football back.
And I'm sure that Ralston has seen that type of pressure as Donnell had it coming off the right side, but Garrett Nelson's a whole different animal.
Burton was the intended target. Now back deep to receive this punt. Cameron Gary and Keegan Reifschneider. A low end-over-end kick going to be caught. And now on the run is Gary running far side. Tries to cut back around the Ralston 45. He'll be brought down at the 44-yard line. 9:47 to play here in the opening quarter tonight. It was York leading Alliance 14-0 at the end of the first quarter at last check about 15 to 20 minutes ago. Scottsbluff off to a quick start here tonight out in front of Ralston 7-0. We had Minutair earlier today on KNEB 960 and 100.3 FM as they roll 81-20 over Waltill in round 1 of the Class D bracket. The D6 bracket, 6-man action down the road at Minutair this afternoon. Double tight end set, ball right hash. 1st and 10 Scottsbluff. Man in motion is Jacob Krull. Design, quick cutback run for Busby. Already to the 2nd level. Runs into a blocker, Jack Darnell. Busby on his feet, down to the 20. They'll push him out of bounds. Mark him at the 18. A pickup of 26. Make it 27 to the 17-yard line. 4 plays, and Jeff, right now, Scottsbluff picking up these just chunks everywhere.
Yeah, it definitely chunk plays by the Bearcats, but as you say, they're not doing anything they haven't done all season.
They'll come to the line of scrimmage. Big play receiver, Keegan Reifschneider into the game, wide left. 2 tight end set. Harsh waits on the snap. Play action. They're going to lob one. That is too tall, out of bounds. Reifschneider could not get that right foot down, had the defender beat, and really the ball just a little bit too far towards the boundary for Reifschneider to come down in bounds.
Yeah, he was right on that side of the end zone, the sideline there, and just not able to get those feet down. A pass that he, as we said, climbed the ladder to pull down.
15 catches for 354 yards on the year. 5 touchdown grabs. He averages 24 yards per catch. 2nd down and 10. Scottsbluff leading 7-0. Ball left hash. Ralston shows blitz. Hand off to Jacob Krull, and he is stuck right at the line of scrimmage. Big tackle made that time by Jordan Apreza Guzman, a 6'1", 175-pound senior. So 3rd down, a loss of 1 for Krull, and that'll make it 3rd down and 11 for Scottsbluff. They threw on 1st down, went right back to the ground game moments ago. We'll see what they come up with here on 3rd and long. 9:02 to play. Clock runs. Handoff goes to Busby, running wide. Cutback, slips with that right foot, and tackled for, we'll call it no gain for Chris Busby. What a game he had last week. 31 carries, 223 yards, and 3 long touchdown runs. All 3 TDs runs covered 30 yards or more. 4th and 11. Line of scrimmage right now at the 17. That would be a 34-yard field goal for Caleb Walker. They will bypass the field goal attempt, and they are going to come out, and it looks like they're going to run a play. We'll see if they maybe go to the hard count to pick up a free 5. They will snap it. Harsh, straight drop. Harsh bails out of the pocket. Still looking downfield. Lobs it to the end zone, intended for Jeremiah Delzer. Pass knocked away by DeMicah Burton right around the goal line, as Harsh really trying to get rid of that football and stay away from running it, needing 11 yards. Good job keeping his eyes downfield, but a better play by Burton in the secondary, and a huge stop for Ralston here early tonight.
And that's got to make that defense, after Scottsbluff goes 3 plays and 51 yards and 51 seconds for their first touchdown, that's got to give that defense a little boost.
1 back in the backfield, single receiver left. Trips right, handoff goes to Burton. Burton tripped up in the backfield. That was Luke Rohr up from his linebacker spot. Rohr has had an outstanding junior season. Inexperience with these starting inside linebackers coming into the year, and Rohr has really started to come on. That's his 19th solo tackle. He's got 4 sacks, an INT, and 7 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. A 1-yard gain for DeMicah Burton. 7:45 to play here in the first quarter, and a 7-0 lead for the Cats. Shotgun snap, Donnell rolling right. That pass is intended target that time, Brady Krajewski. Off the deflection, Keegan Reifschneider near the football. Couldn't reach back towards the middle of the field to come up with that one. Good coverage near sideline, and it'll bring 3rd down and 9 to the table now for the Ralston Rams.
And Donnell, as you said, coming into this game, only 2 interceptions, but he starts out this game 0 for 3.
2 receivers to the short side, the left, 2 to the wide side. Burton in the backfield to the right of Donnell. Gets the snap, straight drop out of the shotgun, fires one over the middle. Cameron Geary undercut the route, didn't get a hand on it, and the ball falls incomplete. The intended receiver that time was Ty O'Brien. He leads them in catches and yards. Their touchdown maker in the passing game is Michael High. So an 0 for start in the passing game for Ralston and Isaac Donnell, the senior signal caller. Field position game already being handled by Scottsbluff. Reifschneider and Geary waited around their own 41 or 42-yard line. They've swapped sides of the field from the last time, and they will go away from Reifschneider. This punt is going to bounce, and Ralston's going to have to down it right around midfield as Gary and Reifschneider cannot make a play. 7:21 to play opening quarter. Scottsbluff defensively, Jeff, they've been out there for 6 plays and now forced 2 punts.
Yeah, they definitely have got this Ralston spread offense. I'm sure they've faced it, everybody's going to that, the Sewards, those types of teams, and so nothing new for the Scottsbluff Bearcat defense. They haven't gotten a lot of pressure on Donnell, but he's just been a little bit off target to start this one off.
Yeah, and you've seen it, these opposing teams, when they go to the passing game, they look to get the ball out in a hurry against this Bearcat defensive stop unit. Out of the shotgun, it's going to be the design quarterback run for Sebastian Harsh, 6'3", 220, running downhill inside the Ralston 45 to around the 42. That'll be a gain of 8 for Sebastian Harsh. The big junior quarterback, 6'3", 220. He's run for 541 coming into this one. 13 touchdowns, right around 7 yards a carry, 60 yards per game on the ground. Offensive line played their best game of the season last week against McCook. Great time of the year, great opponent to have your best game. 2 receivers left, Busby and Reifschneider. Handoff goes to Diolis. Diolis tries to just grind out the first down, and he's going to be about a half a yard shy, give him 1. Diolis has rushed it now just 24 times on the season. Averages around 6 per pop. It'll be 3rd down and short now for this Bearcat offense. Home red jerseys, white pants. Ralston loved the color scheme with that Carolina blue, some red. Like a charcoal gray look on the pants. White jerseys tonight. Harsh, design, quarterback, off tackle, cuts back at around the 40, still on his feet. Harsh at the 20. 15, 10, 5, and coasts across the goal line. A 40-yard touchdown run for Sebastian Harsh with 5:56 to play here in the opening quarter. His 2nd touchdown run of the night. 13-0 Scottsbluff, 5:56 left. Opening quarter for tonight. Caleb Walker on for the PAT. Nailed his first earlier. Brett Hill holds. Walker's kick up and good. 5:56 to play opening quarter tonight at Bearcat Stadium. Class B playoff opener for Scottsbluff. They lead Ralston 14-0 early on the West Coast scoreboard.
Steve Lathrop earned the Omaha World Herald endorsement. He showed impressive leadership and energy. He brought people together on complex issues. Lathrop's skills are valuable at a time when consensus building is vital. Community leaders agree.
We trust Steve.
He'll work hard to keep our neighborhood safe.
Fight for our students and public education.
Lower our taxes and healthcare costs.
He'll work with both sides to get things done.
I'm Steve Lathrop, and I would appreciate your vote.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.
Jerry Escamilla boots the football away. On the return, Ralston, we do have a flag that comes in at around the 26 or 7 yard line from the far side. Has the look and feel of a penalty against the return team, and that's the call holding against Ralston. Chris Cottrell, Jeff Kelly with you tonight in our Logos broadcast booth. Stop into Logos. Jeremy and his crew going to custom design it, print it, and have it ready for the game. No job too big or small for Logos in downtown Gearing. 3 drives, 2 scoring drives for Scottsbluff. They lead the Ralston Rams 14-0. A 2 seed hosting the 15 seed tonight here in round 1. Ralston football, and they're going to need to pick up a first down before they can think about points. It's been slim pickings so far tonight. They set up a nice little middle screen. That's DeMicah Burton. He makes Keegan Reifschneider miss. Garrett Nelson from his right defensive end spot, hustling downfield, makes the stop at about the 47-yard line. A pickup of 32 as Donnell on the nice little screen. That's one way to take advantage of the aggressiveness of the Scottsbluff defense.
Yeah, definitely. That play worked to perfection. It was a good job by Donnell. The snap just a little bit off to his right. He was able to get it, and nice drop into to Burton, and then a big gain for Ralston, but a nice play by Garrett Nelson to run him down from behind.
1st and 10 now for the Rams. They've got it at their own 47-yard line with Donnell in the shotgun, 2 receivers to each side. They snap it to Donnell. Play action fake. He's going to roll left. Donnell checking behind him to see where Garrett Nelson's at. A couple of Bearcat defenders run into one another. Jack Darnell and Cameron Gary. Ball falls incomplete. Burton a little late. Now unable to get up. Now he's going to... I thought he was going to reach for a teammate.
And it looks like his shoe came off.
Boy, for a moment, it looked like his offensive lineman was pointing at his own Achilles to try and signal something wrong with Burton. But, boy, once he decided to hop up, he's moving pretty well and heading off to the far sideline. We'll hope he's okay and able to get back into this football game. 5:09 to play, 14-0. Ralston with just the 1 first down coming 2 plays ago. Single receiver right, trips left to the wide side. Donnell in the shotgun. Cats showing blitz. Handoff, straight ahead. Busting to the second level. Tackle made by Luke Rohr. A gain of 9 on the carry. And that was Rashad Madden. Madden, a 5'8", 160-pound freshman. Rashad Madden picks up 9. It'll be 3rd down. Call it 8. They're going to say 3rd down and 2 now. As Ralston into the Scottsbluff, into the field for the first time tonight. Trips to the right, the short side. Donnell takes the snap. Design quarterback run. Nowhere to go. Near side. He's going to lose a yard, maybe 2. We'll see where they mark him. A loss of 2 for Donnell, and that'll make it 4th down now, and about 3. Down 14-0 already. This is a interesting play call. You can punt, believe in your team, play some defense, or you go for it and you risk giving the Cats a short field already. Looks like they've made their decision. The offense is out there.
We'll see what happens, but big play here in this game, and the Scottsbluff defense, with the exception of that screen passes, really come up big early in this game.
4 minutes and 25 seconds to play in the opening quarter. 4th down, Donnell. Heat from Harsh, passes, intercepted by Reifschneider. Keegan Reifschneider's got it at the 40. Cut back at the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Scottsbluff putting it on the Ralston Rams here in the opening quarter. We'll call it 55 yards on the interception return for a touchdown for Keegan Reifschneider. The pressure forced the throw right there to undercut the pass route, and boy, he put that away, and there was no one going to get him.
No, and there was good pressure by Diolos coming in that time to put pressure on Donnell and caused him to throw that ball way before he was ready to, and just a textbook play by Reifschneider to step in front of the receiver.
Kick is up and good for Caleb Walker. 4:13 to play in the first quarter. 21-0 Scottsbluff on the West Coast scoreboard.
This is Jane. She thinks she's just filling her car, but she's also filling the air with cancer-causing toxic chemicals used to boost octane in gas. What doesn't burn in the engine enters the air and your lungs, even your heart and brain. Bad for everyone, especially kids. Ethanol is a natural octane booster, clean burning and non-toxic. More ethanol means less scary stuff in our gas and in the air we breathe. And that makes your choice pretty plain, Jane.
For locations near you, go to huskerfuel.com.
At Platte Valley Bank, we understand that you have a busy life, and that means you don't always have time to come to the bank. That's why we offer user-friendly online and mobile banking with features such as iPay, recurring transfers, and mobile deposit. So you can bank how you want, when you want to. Whether you prefer to bank in person, over the phone, or online, Platte Valley Bank makes it easy to take care of your finances.
Keegan Reifschneider, the long interception return for a touchdown, and Scottsbluff is cruising 21-0 here at home in their playoff opener against the Ralston Rams. Madden on the kick return, down on kick coverage, making the tackle was Hazel Mendoza, 5'7", 170-pound sophomore. What do you do right now if you're Ralston?
You've got the offense to be able to make up some of this ground with a spread offense, but it's just they have not had time to throw. They have overthrown receivers, and we just saw the interception by Reifschneider, so they've either got to get it back on the ground, but now they go empty.
4:06 to play. All in here on the spread look. Trips right, twins to the left. A little screen ball out to the left to High, tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Jack Darnell out from his outside linebacker spot, tackles High, and that'll be a loss of 2 on the play and set up 2nd down and 12. So really that play was just designed to try to get the ball in someone's hands for a completion, and it still goes for a negative.
And the Scottsbluff defense playing that exactly right. They tried to get the blocker out there to block for the receiver, but a nice job by Darnell to battle through that and get the receiver.
Evan Hegeman at a rush-in spot left side, Nelson to the right. Diola shows blitz from the outside backer spot near side. On the pass attempt, caught that time on the reception. That is Brady Krajewski. And they get it back across the original line of scrimmage, but all of that for just 3 yards. And that'll make it 3rd down and 9. Donnell to Krajewski. Offensive line for Ralston, Aiden Fink, a sophomore, Joe Lubida, a junior, Julian Jimenez, a senior, Andre Smith, a senior, and Jamal Hunter, a sophomore. 2 receivers right, same situation, off to the left, the wide side, ball right hash. 1 back to the left of Donnell. Low snap, Donnell steps up into the pocket, Harsh tracking him down from behind, and a sack for Sebastian Harsh. Jumps into the arms of Garrett Nelson. And Harsh is run for 2 touchdowns. There's a QB sack, a loss of 5 on the play. That'll make it 4th down and 14 now for the Ralston Rams. Ralston probably wondering what in the world has hit us this far away from home. Scottsbluff leads 21-0. 2:05 to play as the clock about to dip under that 2-minute mark here in the first quarter. Snap back to the goal line. They will punt this football away. Nice spiraling kick down to Reifschneider, who calls for a fair catch at his own 48-yard line. Still quarter number 1. 1:49 to play. 21-0 Scottsbluff. Glad to have you here tonight on KNEB.TV and on radio 101.7 The Trail. You can always access our archived high school sports broadcast via our podcast page at KNEB.com, brought to you by First State Bank of Scottsbluff and Gearing. 3 offensive drives tonight, 2 touchdowns. The defense chipped in to score as well on the Reifschneider pick 6. Harsh, as always, operating out of the shotgun. Play action on the fake to Busby. Harsh steps up, and that'll be a short gain of 1. Found some heat. Immediately stepped up, tucked the football, and got a yard. They'll be just shy of midfield.
And this Ralston defense, I think, has to step up right here and get a stop on Scottsbluff, because if they go down 28-0 in the first quarter,
then you just really start to wonder about effort level and a team starting to hang their heads, and that is not what you want to do against this Bearcat team that is going to continue to just pound the football right at you, and they can demoralize you physically. Snap comes to Busby. He runs right. Cut back. Busby tripped up right at the 45. If Burton doesn't get a hand on him to trip him up, Busby might have been gone for another touchdown. It was 2nd down and 9. It looks like Chris got enough to move the chains. They signal a 1st down, a gain of 10 for Chris Busby. I don't know the answer to this, but the coaches earlier this week in practice we're wondering maybe when the last time a running back had run for over 200 yards on a McCook defense. Had to have been a long time ago.
I'm sure you'd have to go way back to see when that happened.
Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. 1st and 10 for Scottsbluff. Harsh. Play action on the fake to Busby. Harsh down the middle. A wide open Jack Darnell at the 30, at the 20. Darnell at the 10. Cuts back inside the 5. Did he reach the football to the pylon? He's going to be short at the 1-yard line. That's a gain of 40 on the play action pass. A 40-yard pickup from Harsh to Jack Darnell. And they are just making mincemeat of this Rams defense right now. Scottsbluff on the season, averaging 43.5 points a game, 293 yards rushing, and that passing numbers come down a bit with some of the blowouts they played in the second half of the schedule. 1st and goal for Scottsbluff. Harsh already has 2 touchdown runs. This is prime territory for the big quarterback to just barrel straight ahead. It's going to be almost impossible for somebody to stop it. Snap to Harsh. Instead, they give it to Busby. It's almost impossible to stop him from the 1-yard line. Finds pay dirt. Chris Busby with 22 seconds to play in the opening quarter. And the route is in full effect here at Bearcat Stadium. Busby, the 1-yard touchdown run. Caleb Walker on to attempt his already 4th PAT of the night. Low snap. Good job by Brett Hill to get that ball placed, and Caleb Walker boots it through. We'll keep it right here. 28-0 is the score, and it is just an avalanche right now for Ralston.
Coming into this game, we talked about the 4-game losing streak that Ralston was on. Those are all teams that are going, I think 3 of the 4 that they played are going to the state playoffs, but in those, they were giving up 47.6 points per game to playoff teams this season. The Scottsbluff offense, on the other hand, averaging throughout the season 44 points a game. So this is an impressive start by Scottsbluff.
Yeah, they gave up 50 to Scott, 28 and a 10-point loss on the road at Plattsmouth. Norris got him for 50. Waverly last week hung 49, and you almost just kind of have to wonder about the confidence level of a team making this type of trip after losing 4 straight, knowing they're up against a highly ranked opponent.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be demoralizing, and as we said, the defense needed to make a stop on that last Scottsbluff possession, and just not able to do so, and the Bearcats are doing it through the air and on the ground with the big catch by Reichschneider to get him in a scoring position on that last drive.
28-0. Instead of Jerry Escamilla, they're going to go to Caleb Walker. Let him get some work in kicking off. Nice boot. Walker, ball's going to bounce at about the 5, skip into the end zone. That'll be a touchback, and more trouble for Ralston as they've got to try and figure out a way to navigate 80 yards out here against this stout Bearcat defense that many now across the state are calling the best in Class B. 28-0 lead. Download the KNB Sports app, the go-to sports app for your smartphone or tablet. The latest news and live scores. You can watch KNB.TV, listen to our radio broadcast there right in the app. Download the sports app in the Apple or Google Play Store at knb.com under the Sports tab. All Scottsbluff up 28-0. Round 1 playoff game here at home tonight against the Ralston Rams. 2 backs now in the backfield. Snap to Donnell. Demicah Burton puts that left foot in the ground. Quick cut back towards the middle of the gridiron. Tackled at the 25, a gain of 5 on first down for Demicah Burton, and now he's struggling this time to get back to the huddle. A little gimpy on that right leg.
Maybe there was something with that leg when he went off the field. It looked like his shoe had come off, but maybe there's some little bit more.
Horn sounds here tonight. A lot of scoring in the opening quarter. Scottsbluff hangs 28 on the Rams in the first 12 minutes. Quarter number 2 when we come back right after this on KNEB.
Regional West is one of 3 Level 2 trauma centers in Nebraska.
We have all the resources here 24 hours a day to address any traumatic injury.
From emergency medical services to advanced medical imaging and surgery, to acute care and rehabilitation.
It's comforting to know that if an accident happens here, our families, our friends, our neighbors, and even we ourselves will get expert trauma care and rehabilitation services right here at Regional West.
Things are getting wild over at Paul Reed Construction and Supply. Now through October 15th, take 10% off all Wild gear and Grizzly products. Come visit us today at our showroom on 10th Street in Gering.
Opening play of the second quarter here tonight, a 2nd and 5 for the Ralston Rams. And on the carry, that time for Ralston, that looked like Jordan Apreza Guzman, a 6'1", 175-pound senior. He's a starting linebacker, got the carry on that attempt for no gain. About 30 seconds into this second quarter, Scottsbluff dominating at home, 28-0. Third down and 5, trips left. Snap to Donnell. Quick shot out to the right, 2 high, 4 high. Out of bounds, coverage there by Darnell. And now another 4th and 5 coming up in a punting situation for the Rams. Ty O'Brien will set up shop inside his own 10-yard line. He'll wait it around the 9, steps now to the 10. Reifschneider and Gary back deep to receive this punt. Once again,
Bearcats will get good field position out of this too, and they're definitely not helping Ralston's cause here.
O'Brien with a sidewinder, end over end, now takes a friendly bounce inside the Bearcat 40, down at around the 37, 38-yard line, and Scottsbluff will take over. 1st and 10, already with a 4-touchdown lead. Many, Jeff, were wondering what a Week 9 game against McCook would mean coming out of it. Would you be a little banged up? How would you respond even going into it, having not played very much competition? But they were outstanding last week, and it's just more of the same here tonight.
And it probably was just what Scottsbluff needed to be able to, a 4-quarter ball game, that they had to come with their A game, and they definitely did.
1st and 10 for the Cats, 2 tight end set. Handoff to Jacob Krull. Good job defensively. Tripping him up around the line of scrimmage was Nathan Bourne. We've got a flag down near the line of scrimmage. Sebastian Harsh smacking his hands. We'll check the flag. They're talking quite a bit to this Ralston defense. Craig Erdman, the lead official here tonight. So a block below the waist on the defense. And that'll give Scottsbluff the football now, 1st and about 3 yards needed. Spot foul. And they're trying to get this spot figured out here, I believe.
And you don't see that a lot of block below the knees called on the defense. Most of the time it's an offensive lineman that is called on that, and they're going to move the chains.
So it's a spot foul. It occurred just across the line of scrimmage, so basically a gain of about 10.5 or 11 on the penalty on Ralston. So Scottsbluff now 1st and 10. Ball between the hash marks at their own 47-yard line. 2 tight end set. Krull the wing back. Off to the right. Snap to Harsh. Handoff comes to Busby. Busby's loose. He's at the 40. Cuts outside. Busby at the 30. They won't catch him. 20, 10, 5. Another touchdown for the Bearcats. 2nd of the night for Chris Busby. This one covers 53 yards. Your early second quarter. 10:32 to play. 2 for Harsh. 1 defensively on the pick 6 for Reifschneider. And now 53 yards on the sprint for 6. for Chris Busby. Caleb Walker now going to try and make it 5 for 5 already on the extra points tonight, and he does just that. 10 minutes, 32 seconds to play here in the first half. Stay right here. KNEB.TV, 101.7 The Trail, and KNEB.com. Chris Cottrell and Jeff Kelly, glad to be with you tonight for high school playoff football coverage at KNEB. All Bearcats here at home. Scottsbluff on top of Ralston, 35-0. And we've still got basically an entire second quarter to go. And the Cats already basically have put this thing away. 35-0 the lead.
Chris Busby over 100 yards and only 7 carries tonight.
Came into action, averaging just under 124 yards per game. And Jeff, I thought throughout this regular season schedule, they really cut his workload down some of those weeks where they didn't have to feed him the football to win games. And he's got to be as fresh as any top runner in the state coming into the postseason.
Exactly, and I think that's, like we said before, having to go 4 quarters against McCook last week, probably the biggest workload that any of these starters had this season.
Caleb Walker boots it away. Madden waits for the football, makes the catch at the 5 on the kickoff. Madden running right. He's got the corner. Kevin Price. And now Caleb Walker, the kicker, will make the tackle out across the Ralston 40. Madden, a nice return. And a little bit of a bright spot there for the Rams as they'll have nice starting field position. Looks like they'll mark it at their own 43-yard line. They'll have it 1st and 10, ball on the right hash mark. 10:22 to play in the first half. Scottsbluff out in front, 35-0. Evan Hagum still in the game. We've seen Hagum, we've seen Nick Mogg opposite Garrett Nelson at that other defensive end spot. DeMicah Burton back into the game. Sebastian Harsh, a menace from his outside linebacker spot as per usual, makes the stop for give him a yard. Burton picks up 1. He's been on and off the field, a little banged up, limping back to the huddle just a little bit. Harsh, the starting quarterback, and Jeff, he's an outstanding quarterback as a junior. He is a tremendous outside linebacker, and he's not even a starter on this team to keep him fresh.
That's got to scare you.
Trips left, receiver to the right. Donnell waits on the snap. Straight drop. Heat coming from behind. Nelson was the man defending, and a lob ball over Paris Magdalena's head. Nice catch by Michael High. His came into action with 14 grabs for 319. 27-yard gain. And now what are we looking at? Looks like a flag down. So a defensive holding, that'll be declined. So the 27-yard pass play stands from Donnell to Michael High, the senior wide receiver, who came in averaging 23 yards a grab. That one goes for 27. And Ralston has it 1st and 10 at the Scottsbluff 29-yard line. 9 minutes and 37 seconds to play in the first half. Burton motions from right to left. Donnell. Hegum applies some pressure. Donnell lobs one to the end zone. He's got High there. That's a touchdown. Again, beat Paris Magdaleno, the cornerback left side. That's a 29-yard touchdown pass from Donnell to High with 9:23 to play in the quarter. A 59-second drive. Donnell to High, covering 29 yards.
And Ralston finding a little bit of success with the passing game, and I'm sure that defensive coordinator for the Bearcats will definitely talk to their defense that they walked down the field just too easy that time.
That kick is up and splits the uprights. 9:23 to play with the PAT. Ralston now trails by 28 points. It's 35-7. And a little bit of a confidence booster right there for the Rams offense. Seems like they've really tried to move the pocket the shotgun snap and get Donnell moving quickly to his left or right. It might cut down on the amount of real estate he's got to throw to, but it also maybe cuts down on one side of pressure.
Yeah, definitely, and they saw it that time, and the wide open receiver in the end zone for Ralston that time. But I'm sure the Scottsbluff Bearcat defense is going to crank up the pressure on their next Ralston possession.
Jake McLean, the defensive coordinator for Scottsbluff. This stop unit coming into tonight, giving up just a little over 12 points a game. Surrendered 13 last week in their outstanding effort against McCook. Back deep to receive. A trio of big play guys. Krul, Busby, and Reifschneider. That is scary business if you're trying to cover a kick. It's Krul with his hands on it. Coming near side, Krul just absolutely lowers his shoulder pads and helmet, runs through a would-be tackler and takes the football out to near the 40-yard line. Krul figured, I'm not going to be able to cut and make someone miss, so I'm just going to deliver the blow myself.
And he did that on the opening kickoff. He trucked some guy right there that gave Scottsbluff good field position.
Nose of the football rests at the 40-yard line right hash. Ralston on the board moments ago for the first time tonight. Scottsbluff in complete control, leading 35-7. Still 9 and change to play in the first half. Hand off to Busby. Busby hit near the line of scrimmage, and he'll be stopped for a gain of about 3. He falls forward and turned what looked like nothing into a 3-yard gain. And Busby has just been outstanding here tonight, last week as well, of course. Second down, and they'll call it a gain of 4. Second down and 6. Under 9 minutes to go in this first half. Winner plays the winner of the Ron Colley Mount Michael Benedictine game that's underway. Snap to Harsh, hand off to Busby, comes near side, runs behind Kyler Count, still on his feet, legs churning. We've got a late flag, and big 76, I think Andre Smith, is he the one that's going to get whistled for maybe a personal foul, some extracurricular after the play?
I think that's exactly what it's going to be, because the official just happened to look over there right when big number 76 was engaged.
So on the carry, a gain of 4 for Busby. Personal foul on Andre Smith, number 76. So the 4-yard run for Busby, and then 15 more on the end of the run. And Scottsbluff once again in business in plus territory right now. We'll see where this football winds up getting marked. They will set it down at the Ralston 36-yard line. 2 tight end formation. Wing right, offset fullback to the right, Busby to the left of Harsh. They will fake it, and it's Harsh, the quarterback, on the keep. Cuts back, spins out of a would-be tackle, falls forward, lost the football. Are they going to say he was down, or are they going to give this football to Ralston? They're going to mark the football down at the 21-yard line, a gain of 15 for Sebastian Harsh. If there is a critique on Harsh running the ball, he does carry it away from his body just a little bit at times. That almost came back to bite him, but he was down by contact, so he picks up 15.
Once again, this Ralston defense, though, they need to get a stop and maybe answer back after they had the big touchdown pass on the last possession.
35-7 Scottsbluff, 1st and 10. Shifting on the offensive side for the Cats. They'll hand it to Busby, gets behind the offensive line, ankle tackle at around the 16-yard line. On the stop that time was Isaac Donnell tackling Chris Busby. A gain of 5. It'll bring up 2nd down and 5 now for the Bearcats. Churning out the yards, the points, the first downs, the time of possession. 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Now under that number here in the first half. 35-7, excuse me. Snap to Harsh. Play action, dump it into the flat. Diolis on the catch. Downfield block from Jacob Krull. Diola still on his feet, hard charging down near the goal line. He'll be tackled at the 1. A pickup of 14. They faked the handoff. Harston peeled back to his right. Quickly got rid of the football to Diolas. A gain of 14. It'll be first and goal now from the 1 for Scottsbluff. Like that play design, and Diolas has shown great hands so far in his high school career.
And definitely a great catch, great run after that. And I think he knocked the Donnell, who went to make the initial tackle on him, knocked him out of the way and was stretching for the goal line before another Ralston Ram came in to finish him.
Yeah, Donnell fell back across the goal line into the end zone. 6:52 to play. Cats looking for more. Shifting up front as they move Diolas around, make it 3 touchdowns on the night for Chris Busby. A 1-yard run for Busby with 6:44 to play in the first half. Harsh started the night with 2 touchdowns. Busby set all equally and then raised the ante a little bit. A 1-yard TD run for Busby, his 3rd of the night. 41 points, looking to make it 42 in the first half tonight.
And a nice job by the Bearcat offense to answer back after that Ralston score, but the big penalty on the personal foul, and those are the types of things when you're behind 35-7 that you can't do.
Caleb Walker trying to stay perfect on the PATs tonight. He does exactly that. 6:44 to play in the half. 42-7, Scottsbluff up huge on the West Coast scoreboard.
Steve Lathrop earned the Omaha World Herald endorsement. He showed impressive leadership and energy. He brought people together on complex issues. Lathrop's skills are valuable at a time when consensus building is vital. Community leaders agree.
We trust Steve.
He'll work hard to keep our neighborhood safe.
Fight for our students and public education.
Lower our taxes and healthcare costs.
He'll work with both sides to get things done.
I'm Steve Lathrop, and I would appreciate your vote.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.
Back at Bearcat Stadium, Scottsbluff kicks it away to Ralston. A return out across the Rams' 30-yard line, shy of the 35. Looks like they'll mark it at about the 33. And with 6:39 to play in the first half tonight, it's 42-7. Scottsbluff in complete control, and it's been that way from the opening kickoff. They scored 1 minute in. They scored 4 times in the first quarter. And twice more here in the second. They lead by 35. Ralston did score on their last offensive possession. We'll see what Scottsbluff can do defensively. Snap to Donnell. Pressure comes. He's got to roll back the other way. Magdaleno, and the catch is made. That's going to be a touchdown. Paris Magdaleno got beat once again by Michael High. That'll cover 66 yards with 6:26 to play in the half.
And one play and the touchdown, and they had a little pressure on Donnell, but he was able to get out of it, and one-on-one coverage down the field. And Ralston receiver able to get a step on the defender for the Bearcats in their last 2 offensive possessions. Ralston has put points on the board.
That Bearcat Brain Trust visiting down on the sideline. Head coach Joe Benson, offensive and defensive coordinators Judd Hall and Jake McLean. Back-to-back plays from scrimmage result in touchdowns for the Ralston Rams. Donnell to High covering 29 yards. After Scottsbluff marches down the field and scored again, Donnell to High 66 yards. And they're making a point to pick on Paris Magdaleno at this point.
Trying to see Paris at only 5'9". I don't know if there's that much of a height advantage
High's 5'10".
High 5'10", so not that much of a height advantage there, but he's just been able to get behind Magdaleno.
6:26 to play in the half, 42-14. Thing is, trading touchdowns, that went out the window a long time ago if you're Ralston.
Yep.
56 combined points so far here in the first half. Still over half this second quarter to play.
And you wonder if Ralston has done something along the offensive line. There hasn't been as much pressure as there was on Donnell in the first quarters. He's been able to get away from pressure and with the 2 scoring passes.
This kick comes down to Krul. Luckily, his knee did not touch. Krul's got great speed all the way to the far side of the field now across the 30, cuts back to the 40, and takes it out to the 43-yard line. Good return for Jacob Krul, and that gives this offensive unit Mighty Pines starting field position once again.
That time Krul didn't have to take anybody on. He went across the field to that far sideline, and another good return though by him.
6:16 to play. Cats to the line of scrimmage. 2 tight ends set. Reifschneider in the game as a wide receiver to the right. Back to the left to Harsh is Busby. Harsh pointing out some blocking keys right now. Play action, Harsh. Harsh fires it out to Reifschneider on the catch across midfield to the 46-yard line of Ralston. Pickup up 11 yards. A rope of a ball that time from the right arm of Harsh to Reifschneider with the grab. Keegan's got a big wrap on his right hand tonight. Didn't keep him from making a play on a pick 6 earlier and on that catch. 1st and 10 Scottsbluff, quickly into Ralston territory once again. They lead 42-14, ball right hash. Opening round playoff game tonight from Class B at Bearcat Stadium. Handoff Busby. Busby cuts out to the outside, far sideline, still on his feet, spins away from a tackler, dives inside the Ralston 30 to the 29-yard line. A pickup of 17 more for Chris Busby. Well over 100 yards tonight in the first half already. And Scottsbluff, they'll mark it at the 30. We've got another 1st and 10 as they move the chains. Reifschneider in the game again, has stayed in the game these last few snaps. He'll be the receiver out to the right. Burton matches up with him defensively. 2 tight ends. Busby to the right of Harsh. Harsh, straight drop. He's got Reifschneider. Reifschneider on the catch. Did he make it? He did. Jamaica Burton on the coverage. Down at the 8-yard line. 22 more. Harsh to Reifschneider on the completion inside the 10-yard line. Another first down, 1st and goal now for Scottsbluff. Reifschneider, Jeff, has been a big play kid all season long. All facets of the game. We've kind of called him a Swiss Army knife throughout the year. He does it all.
He definitely has here in this game, and another good catch by him, and Scottsbluff is just kind of opening it up just a little bit, not content to get it all on the ground. A good job through the air.
5 minutes, 20 seconds to play in the half. Harsh looking for his 3rd touchdown run, and quite frankly, it looked like Ralston wasn't that interested in making a tackle on that play. 8-yard run, virtually untouched for Sebastian Harsh with 5:14 to play in the second quarter. Harsh and Busby each with 3 touchdown runs in the first half. That one an 8-yarder for Harsh. Caleb Walker misses an extra point. Stay right here, 48-14. Scottsbluff just piling up everything here tonight offensively. Tremendous effort here in high gear. Just a carryover from last week's home win over McCook. One of our fine high school sports sponsors at KNEB is Panhandle Trails Intercity Public Transit. They offer regularly scheduled accessible bus service serving communities between Alliance and Scottsbluff Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and 21 Panhandle communities on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Reservations are required. Visit panhandletrails.com or call 761-TRIP. That's 761-TRIP. All Bearcats at home tonight. They lead 48-14. Still 5 minutes and some small change to go here in quarter number 2.
It'll be interesting to see what the Ralston offense does this next time they have the ball.
A low squib kick that takes a high bounce on the return. Ralston's got it out across with Manny Burton that time across the 30-yard line, shy of the 35. So Ralston will have it again, 1st and 10. Paris Magdaleno back on the field. He's been beaten for touchdowns the last 2 Ralston drives. Is that the return man, Burton?
I think it is.
He's down at about the 32. Burton getting help to his feet. Trying to stretch that, whatever's ailing him out. Isaac Donnell into the offensive huddle for the Rams. Offensively, they've got to have a little bit of confidence right now. They've scored touchdowns on each of their last 2 plays. 5:07 to play in the second quarter. Connor McCracken in as the right cornerback now for Scottsbluff. Busby getting a breather defensively. Magdaleno far side. Safeties are Geary and Reichschneider. Scottsbluff showing blitz. And here comes Nelson stepping up to Nell. They're going to lob it high. Beat Magdaleno again. Diving attempt on the tackle. 3 snaps, 3 touchdowns for Ralston. This one covers 67 yards. Unbelievable. Wow. Now it's a confidence issue. It's got to be.
It definitely has to be. Is it high and Magdaleno? He has been beaten on the last 3 receptions, and just we said this is an offense that can come and score very quickly and come back. And their last 3 possessions, they've scored in 1 play.
Wow, 48-20, PAT pending. Gerardo Perez shoots that one through the uprights. All of a sudden, a bit quiet here on the near side. Not that this game is in doubt by any means, but still 48-21. 4 minutes and 55 seconds left to play in this first half. 3 consecutive plays resulting in touchdowns. Donnell the high on all 3. Magdaleno was the defensive back. Playoff football coverage on KNEB.TV, 101.7 The Trail, and KNEB.com. Credit Ralston for hanging in and still coming out of the huddle trying to make some plays.
It would have been very easy for them to fold at 35-7, but they definitely found something on offense that works, as it's been Donnell to high the last 3 times.
A lot of offensive fireworks here tonight at Bearcat Stadium. 48-21. Perez will kick it away, a low, now turns into a squib. It bounces in the hands of Diolas. Diolas makes one would-be tackle or miss. He takes it across the 35. Scottsbluff will have it 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line. Four minutes and 50 seconds to play in this half. At halftime, we'll add up some of the numbers that these teams have put together. Give you a halftime stats update. Try and track down some scores from around Class B. Opening round of the Class B playoff bracket around the state tonight. Busby in motion. They fake the handoff on the fly sweep. Instead, it's Harsh. Harsh, that's going to be a gain of 11. Got hit up high and down low. And on the tackle defensively was Jaron paces, but a gain of 11, and Scottsbluff will have it 1st and 10 at their own 49-yard line.
This Bearcat defense, I think, needs to take a little bit of time off this clock and keep this Ralston offense, even though they've only scored on one play. You don't want any closer than it already is right now.
4.5 minutes to play in the half. Busby again in motion. Same look. Play action. Harsh tucks it. He's got plenty of green grass in front of him. Harsh on the run. He gets a block. Harsh runs over a defensive back. That's never pleasant for a smaller DB. Seeing Sebastian Harsh. Line of scrimmage was the 49. A pickup of 39 for Harsh on the quarterback keep that time. Harsh picks up 39 on the carry. Reifschneider comes off. It'll be 1st and 10 Scottsbluff. And they can still pick up another first down inside the 5. Line of scrimmage at the 13. 4:18 to play here in the second quarter. 2 tight end set. Ball left hash. Harsh in the shotgun. Hands to Busby. He's already got 3 touchdowns on the night. Now he's going to make it 4. Not much effort again from the secondary to make a play on Chris Busby. I'm going to run out of spots on my scoring sheet here. This is something. 4:04 to play in the half. Scottsbluff's put 54 on the board already.
Definitely impressive by Scottsbluff to answer right back again. And unfortunately, Ralston, even though they've been able to score in one play, I think at this point they've got a pretty big uphill climb facing them throughout the rest of the second quarter and in the second half.
A double nickel on the board with 4:04 to play in the first half. 55 points for Scottsbluff. They lead 55-21 on the Ralston Rams. Another great sports sponsor at KNEB is Ohio National. Just remember, Ohio National says life changes, they'll be there. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Paris Magdalena's back on the field defensively here on this next drive, and also just how Scottsbluff responds to seeing 3 touchdowns put on them in 3 straight plays.
Exactly, and like I said, I think Ralston has gotten something figured out along that offensive front as they've been able to neutralize the pressure a little bit from the Bearcats.
Jerry Escamilla boots one down to Madden. At the 4, Madden on the return, hard running, cuts back towards the middle, Nick Mogg. And Mogg can't make the tackle, far side. Bunch of bodies over there. Mendoza may be up off the pile on the stop. Nope, that was Anselmo Camacho, a sophomore, 5'6", 145 pounds. Paris Magdaleno on the field. So he'll be corner right side this time. As McCracken comes off, they'll put Jacob Krull on the left side. And when you know it, here comes High out of the huddle.
I was just going to say that.
Same side of the field as Magdaleno. They've got him man up. Reifschneider, the safety, to Magdaleno's side. We'll see if he gives some help and shades to the far receiver. Donnell fires a pass out, incomplete. Good coverage by the linebacker, Josiah Diolas, the intended receiver that time for Ralston was Noah Talmadge.
Right before the snap, Paris looked over to the sidelines and kind of, went like, am I okay? Is this where I need to be? And definitely showing some confidence to the Bearcat defensive staff and Paris Magdaleno, and how tough is that kid after getting burned on 3 straight touchdown passes.
Easy to stick with him when you're up 34 because you're going to need him later in the postseason. Inside handoff to Demicah Burton, and he'll get it right at or maybe just across the 35-yard line. Give him 2 on the carry, and that'll make it 3rd down now. And give him 3. That'll make it 3rd and 7. Luke Rohr and Jack Darnell come off. They get an extra defensive back into the game now with Busby. So DB's all over the place, 6 of them. Cruel, Busby, Magdaleno, Gary, Reifschneider, McCracken. 3rd down and 7, Donnell in the shotgun. Nelson, they set up a screen pass to Burton. Good tackle in the open field by Jeremiah Delzer. That's a man's play right there.
Nice job by him to come up and penetrate and make that tackle for a loss.
Loss of 2. Delzer is just an iron man. He's a starter at tight end, a starter at inside linebacker. He's out there virtually every snap of the football game. And boy, if he doesn't make that play, Burton winds up maybe with a big gainer down the field. Open field, sure tackling. That's almost a lost start in the game of football today.
Yeah, it really is. Bearcats will get, once again, great field position off of this punt.
2.5 minutes to play. O'Brien goes up to grab the high snap. Spiraling kick. Reifschneider calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 33-yard line. So leading 55-21, Scottsbluff going to get another shot at it right here offensively before halftime. One way to just kind of put the pain of those 3 touchdowns behind you is to just keep scoring.
Yep.
And that's what they've been doing.
I mean, you don't want to see that type of thing. You had this team beaten, and those little things like that can give an offense and give a team a lot of confidence. So I think the Bearcats would like to put this one in before the end of the half.
Good job by the defense to respond moments ago, forcing that 3-and-out in the punt. Harsh with Busby again in motion. They'll keep it on the ground with Harsh. Harsh to the second level. Harsh cuts outside across midfield. He's to the 45. Shoves high out of the way. Harsh still on his feet. We'll see. The whistle blows. They'll mark him at about the 36-yard line. A pickup of 33 yards on that carry for Sebastian Harsh. Plus side of the field now. They'll put the football down right around the 35-yard line. Shy of the 35, so officially the 36. Big run for Harsh. It's been a first half of big runs for the Cats. Same look again. This time they give it to Busby. Busby slow plays it, stiff arms a would-be tackler, cuts back, took 2-3 defenders to bring Chris down at the 26-yard line. That's a gain of 9. He'll be a yard shy of a first down. 9 more for Busby.
Nice run by Chris. You said stiff arming one tackler and picking up more yardage. And I'm sure the Bearcats would like to stick it in, but they're just, I think, content to keep it on the ground.
Minute and 40 seconds to play. Now a minute 35. Clock continues to run. Harsh. A fade route. Reifschneider touchdown. That'll cover 26 yards.
Shows how much I know.
A minute and 27 seconds to play. Easily the most points I've ever seen, I think, in a Class B football game in the opening 2 quarters. What did I say that covered, Jeff?
26.
Harsh to Reifschneider. That's his second touchdown of the night. Caleb Walker with the kick. And another PAT for Walker. Your ears are not deceiving you. Or if you're on the TV side, that scoreboard is telling the truth. It is 62-21. Still second quarter as we both shake our head here in the broadcast booth.
You said that's probably the most points that you've seen in a Class B game in the first half, and I'd have to agree with you 100%. This is just an impressive performance by the Bearcats. First time that I've been able to see them this season, and really, you look at the 3 touchdowns that Ralston scored, you think maybe, okay, they got their 21 points in the fourth quarter. They've got them here in the first half, but they just have not found any answer, the Ralston defense, for this Scottsbluff offense.
62-21. Still plenty of time, really, for the way things have been going. Minute and 27 seconds to play. Escamilla, left foot to football. Again, down to Madden at the 5. Straight ahead on the return. Madden, and boy, one more tackle to break. Still on his feet. Luke Rohr, finally, one of the starting inside linebackers. Luke Rohr out there. Nick Mogg as well, helping out on the tackle. Cameron Geary, a starting safety, a little slow to get up. So more good field position now for the Ralston Rams. 75 seconds to play in this half. Had you told Ralston you'd have 21 points at halftime, they'd have signed on the dotted line every time. They wouldn't have guessed they'd be down by 41 points. 62-21. Late second quarter, a minute and 15 seconds to play, and now a timeout taken by Ralston. See if we can find some scores. Check the old tweet box and see what we can come up with on Roncalli and Omaha Roncalli and Mount Michael Benedictine. I believe I saw Roncalli had jumped out to a 3-score lead earlier. Yeah, 30-0 at last check. Roncalli over Mount Michael. That was late in the first half. So if everything holds and based on the scores you expect they would, that would be Omaha Roncalli coming west to play at Scottsbluff next Friday night, we assume. Donnell, straight drop, throws it across the middle, pass is tipped. I think that went off the receiver, then Jack Darnell, Keegan Reifschneider. And I'll tell you, his hand is hurting.
Yeah, he's got that right hand wrapped up. Now he's coming off the field kind of holding that right hand.
Connor McCracken replacing Keegan Reifschneider, one of the safety spots. 3rd down and 10 now for Ralston. 71 seconds to play in the first half. 62-21, Scottsbluff. Burton, now Donnell. They dump a little. One Burton in motion. Demicah Burton catches the little screen pass, and that'll be a gain of just 1. Donnell to Burton for a pickup of 1. And it's now 4th down and 9. Check that, 3rd down and 9, excuse me. 3rd and 9 now for this Ralston offensive unit.
Pressure that time once again by Harsh to make Donnell throw that ball just a little bit before he wanted to. And I think that's kind of been what the problem's been a little bit on those 3 touchdowns. There hasn't been a lot of pressure on Donnell.
Trips left, 2 receivers right. We've got a whistle and a flag flies. Some of the Ralston guys reacting in a positive fashion. Offsides called against Scottsbluff. That'll move the football to midfield and sets up a 3rd down and 4 situation now for the Rams. Donnell, 3 touchdown passes, all to high. Burton in motion. They're going to hand it to him. And now we've got a flag far side right at midfield. Tackle made by Jacob Krull up from his secondary spot on a corner on Demicah Burton, but that flag could just wipe this play out. Ralston pointing at Scottsbluff. Instead, it's a false start against the Rams. 30 seconds to play in the half. And right back where we were before the penalty on Scottsbluff. 3rd down and 9. Ball at the 45 of Ralston. People around the state checking social media see this score and they're like, that can't be right.
Is this Nebraska, Florida back in 1995?
It looks like it. Garrett Nelson, right side, will bring some heat. Sebastian Harsh, what a pass rushing combo that is. Demicah Burton, they will hand him. No, the quarterback keeps it. Donnell, he's got a 1st down. Far sideline, still on his feet. Chris Busby's going to push Donnell out of bounds. He He got 5 to midfield and then another 25, a gain of 30 for Isaac Donnell. Has over 300 yards rushing coming into action tonight, averaging just 3 a carry, but has 5 touchdowns, so he can be a little bit dual threat, and exactly that on a big gainer.
First time positive yardage for Donnell here on the ground in the first half.
So 23 seconds to go in the half. And of course, what's on the line here? Well, playing good football, obviously, but you want that running clock in effect when you get to the second half, if at all possible. Snap to Donnell. Looking left. Pressure comes. Nelson stays on his feet. That pass is tipped by Jeremiah Delzer. The intended receiver coming across the football field was Jordan Apreza Guzman. Overthrew Guzman, and Delzer almost came up with the INT. Jack Darnell comes on as Nick Mogg heads to the bench. They want a little more athleticism on the field now, looking at second down and 10. Probably won't see one hand on the ground. Darnell and Nelson lining up as rushers. Diolas and Harsh. Darnell, the only hand on the ground. Heat stepping up, nowhere to go. Nelson can't wrap up the sack. He does, he'll get the sack. He trips him up. Nelson is slow to get up. He's had a...
And he had Donnell dead to rights, and he slipped out of that tackle. I don't know if he maybe got kicked while he was down. He's going to be okay.
He's had a left shoulder injury, but this looks like he's stretching out the right. And he's coming off the field, and he looks to be okay. That's great news. And that's why you don't want to give up points here. You want that running clock, because the last thing you want to see happen in a game like this, where you're blowing an opponent out, is to lose a key guy with bigger fish to fry coming down the road.
Garrett being looked at on the sidelines by trainer James Buck.
And it's the right shoulder, right arm stretching out. He looks all right. We'll come for a drink of water here over at the coolers. So Nelson will get credit for the sack. That's a loss of 9. It'll be 3rd down and 19. We're down to just 7 seconds to play. And now a timeout taken by Scottsbluff. Trying to make sure they've got their personnel right. Gary looks a little gimpy as well. Jake McClain, the defensive coordinator, pointed to Luke Rohr. He's coming on the field. Nick Mogg will leave. Again, just trying to get as many pass defenders or pass rushers onto the field as they can at one time.
And look down at Reifschneider, and still he's holding that right hand just kind of up close to his body. But as we said, he's got an interception for a touchdown, so it hasn't affected him that much. So, but he is definitely favoring that right hand.
I noticed a cutback run earlier, I think on a catch over the middle, where he might have looked a little less interested in tackling than he otherwise might normally. You know, he's a pretty aggressive defender, and he'll come up and stick you, but just trying to protect that injury. He was not in full pads on Wednesday, and you can tell he's definitely trying to protect that right hand as much as possible. Trips left. Single receiver to the right. Burton in the backfield, Donnell in the shotgun. They put 3 seconds back on the clock, 10 now to go here in the half. Donnell, straight drop, steps up, moves to his right, and we've got a flag thrown and a wrestling match over on the far sideline with Busby and Demika Burton. And you get the feeling, Jeff, at some point the officials might be on the spot tonight to keep everything under control.
Exactly, and with this being this far out of hand, you know, some of those things, you don't want to see those types of things happen and possibly, you know, put somebody out of the game that wants to be in there, possibly, be the cause of a score. I mean, this game's, I would guess, out of reach at this point, but you never know. Those things can turn a game very quickly.
So the flag goes against Scottsbluff, defensive holding. 3rd and now 9 instead of 3rd and 19. Clock at 5 seconds to play. Safeties back at around the 5 or 6 yard line. Snap to Donnell. He looks left. He hoists one toward the end zone, overshoots his intended target. That was Preza Guzman, and still 1 tick left on the clock for this Bearcat defense to take care of here in the first half. Fourth down and 9 now for the Ralston Rams. Nelson back in the game, crouched down in a catcher's position. Now he's back up on his feet, still trying to stretch that right arm out just a little bit. Ralston to the line of scrimmage. High receiver left. He's got Magdaleno on him. We'll see if they look that direction. Here comes the rush. Donnell steps up and falls down. Not on his own. Did so because Sebastian Harsh records his 2nd sack of the night. A wild first half, to say the least, here tonight at Bearcat Stadium. We are finally at halftime. This thing kicked off at 6 Mountain. We're about 7:30 now, a few minutes away from the 7:30 mark. Halftime score in Scottsbluff at Bearcat Stadium. Scottsbluff leading in this round 1 playoff game against Ralston, 62-21 on the West Coast scoreboard.
No matter what job I've got to do, my John Deere 5E tractor will do it all. Whether I'm cutting, moving feed, or building a fence. Using my 5E means my work gets done faster at a price I can afford, and that works for me.
Visit 21st Century Equipment in Alliance, Torrington, Scottsbluff, and Bridgeport, or visit 21stcenturyequipment.com.
Our roots are right here in this area. We're local. Many of us were born and raised in the communities that we serve. Because of that, we make our decisions right here at the bank. Some places have local branches. We have local roots. First State Bank. We're big on you. Member FDIC. Online at fsbcentral.com.
Monument Mall has been a huge part of the commercial retail market that has served the Scottsbluff Gearing area for well over 2 decades. Many have the misconception that leasing or renting a retail commercial space at Monument Mall is not affordable. On the contrary, our retail spaces have never been more affordable than now. Often having several spaces to choose from for rental or lease options, we have kiosks and retail merchandising units available for your needs to help your business thrive. So don't hesitate. Feel free to give us a call. For more information, please contact Krista Pelster, our property manager, at 308-632-6000.
Who is Hydrotex? Hydrotex manufactures and distributes high-performance lubricants and fuel improvers. We've been helping customers improve their operations for over 80 years with products made in the USA. We sell directly to customers and cut out the middleman and offer excellent service and value. Our products last longer and work better so that you spend less time maintaining equipment and more time making money. Whether you're in a factory, farm, fleet, or food processing facility, Hydrotex can help you. Visit hydrotexoil.com or call 308-635-8162.
We start halftime here at Bearcat Stadium as Scottsbluff has a big lead, a wild half of action, 83 combined points, 21 of those for Ralston. That means 62 here at halftime for Scottsbluff. 62-21, they lead it by 41 points here. Round 1, Class B, playoff action at Bearcat Stadium. Well, it's going to take a moment, so let's just go ahead and get to the scoring recap. 28 points in the opening quarter for Scottsbluff. They got their first touchdown 1 minute in on a 13-yard touchdown run from Harsh. PAT made it 7-0. Harsh again with just under 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. A 40-yard burst this time around. Walker's kick made it 14-0. Then with 4:13 to play in the opening stanza, Keegan Reifschneider, an interception return for a touchdown. I believe I'm calling it about 55 yards. I just didn't see exactly where he made the pick because he got down the other side of the field in a hurry. We're calling it 55 for now on the pick six for Reifschneider. And then with under 30 seconds to play in the quarter, it was a Chris Busby 1-yard touchdown run. That was his first of the night. He's tacked on a few more. PAT from Caleb Walker, and it was 28-0 Scottsbluff at the end of quarter number 1. To the second quarter, a minute and 28 seconds in, Busby to the house for the second time tonight, a 53-yard run, 35-0 after the Walker PAT. Then Isaac Donnell, less than a minute later, got Ralston on the board for the first time as he connected with Michael High, a 29-yard touchdown pass. PAT made it 35-7 Scottsbluff. Scottsbluff came right back, ensuing drive. Busby, after they got inside the 5, Busby punches one in from a yard out. PAT 42-7. That came with 6:44 to play in the half. Then for a second straight play from scrimmage, Donnell to High on a 66-yard touchdown pass. PAT at that point made it 42-14. Harsh scored on an 8-yard run. That was his fourth, check that third rushing touchdown of the half. No good on the PAT from Walker, so 48-14 at that point. We're not done. And then, how about this? For a third straight play, literally 3 plays in a row from scrimmage for Ralston, Donnell connects with High, 67 yards the third time around. So 29, 66, and 67-yard touchdown passes from Isaac Donnell to Michael High. And that gave 3 straight scores as far as possessions and scoring for Ralston. Busby a 13-yard touchdown run, 55-21 at that point. And then with under a minute and a half to play, Harsh connects with Reifschneider on a touchdown pass that covered 26 yards. Walker's kick good, and I think we got everything covered for you on the scoring recap. The PAT made it 62-21. A wild first half tonight, to say the least. 83 combined points with these two clubs. 62-21 the lead right now. Scottsbluff in control at halftime, up big on Ralston on the West Coast scoreboard. I need a nap after reading that.
Yep. It was.
I'll come back and toss it to you for a look at numbers.
Okay.
Hey, Kev, up here, what do you think? Chris Cottrell, Jeff Kelly on board with you tonight. KNEB.TV, 101.7 The Trail, and online as always at KNEB.com. Jeff, this has been just a bizarre first half of football. 83 combined points. Scottsbluff leading Ralston 62-21. It was a journey to get through the scoring recap. We'll see if you can handle a look at these halftime numbers.
Halftime was about over by the time you got done with those. Looking at the Ralston side of the ledger first, Demicah Burton, 7 carries tonight, 42 yards. Isaac Donnell, 4 carries for only 22 yards. And Max Wells with 1 carry for -1 yard. And Madden for Ralston, 1 carry for 9 yards. Isaac Donnell, we talked about the touchdown passes, 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception in the first half. He's 7 out of 18 for 157 yards. On the receiving side, Michael High, I should say, with the 3 catches, 3 touchdowns, 120 yards through the air. And then the other pass completion was to Brady Krakowski. He had 1 catch for 37 yards there for the Ralston Rams only, and Jordan Aprisa Guzman 1 catch, but he had no yards. On the Scottsbluff side of the ledger, an impressive night as usual. The usual headliners: Chris Busby, 10 carries tonight in the first half, 123 yards for Chris Busby, and 4 touchdowns tonight for Chris.
Yep, 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns for him. Sebastian Harsh, 10 carries here at halftime for 177 yards for Sebastian in the first half. Through the air, Sebastian Harsh unofficially 5 out of 9 for 113 yards and 1 touchdown for Sebastian through the air tonight. Keegan Reichschneider with 3 catches for 59 yards, and Jack Darnell with 1 catch for 40 yards tonight for the Scottsbluff Bearcats. And we're sitting here at halftime 62-21, and it'll be interesting to see what the story is across the state of Nebraska in Class B with this many points put up in the first half, and I'm sure we'll see more in the second half from these 2 schools. But an impressive performance by Scottsbluff, and I'm sure the coaches at halftime talked to their kids, especially on the defensive side, the 3 touchdowns. I saw head coach Joe Benson talking to Jake McLean as they went into the locker room, probably trying to make some corrections on that. And, I mean, how upset can you be at 62-21? You're leading the game by 41 points, but I'm sure Coach Joe Benson wants to make an even bigger statement across the state.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And look, it doesn't really matter what the scoreboard says when you've set that standard as high as this Bearcat defense has this year. You've given up over your season average already. So, yes, of course, this game is out of hand on the scoreboard, but as an individual unit, they really want to probably step their game up a little bit. And if you're Ralston, at some point, you've got to tackle. Scottsbluff's going to find the end zone some more if you're not willing to tackle, because some of these backups that might get in here in the second half, they're going to be running hard. They work all week in practice, and when they get the football, they're going to try and make something happen. Crazy first half, obviously, 62-21. Scottsbluff up big on the West Coast scoreboard.
Right, this is as we celebrate 100 years, we invite you to come visit us and let us show you and your family how we can honor your loved ones. As one of the oldest businesses in the valley, we will proudly serve your family the same way we have served generations ago. We are located at Corner, Broadland, and Westward Scottsbluff.
This is Mike. Mike likes his car. Mike likes to save money. And Mike likes to breathe. So Mike fills up with E15 with 15% American ethanol. The clean octane in E15 gives Mike the performance he wants from his engine and the clean air he wants for his family. Better yet, E15 costs less at the pump. Higher octane, cleaner air, lower cost. E15 sure gives Mike a lot to like.
For locations near you, go to huskerfuel.com.
The kids need to run off some energy after school or too cold to play outside? Bring them to Planet Bounce at the Monument Mall. With many bounce houses, a concession stand, and the largest redemption arcade around, Planet Bounce has hours of fun. Call today to schedule your birthday party, or ask Ron about renting a bounce house for your party, office party, or corporate event. Open Wednesday through Sunday, Planet Bounce Family Fun Center at the Monument Mall.
No matter what job I've got to do, my John Deere 5E tractor can do it all. Whether I'm cutting, moving feed, or building a fence. Using my 5E means my work gets done faster at a price I can afford, and that works for me.
Visit 21st Century Equipment in Alliance, Torrington, Scottsbluff, and Bridgeport, or visit 21stcenturyequipment.com.
Why should you come out to Double L Country Store in Banner County? Because we serve locally raised beef, chicken, and bison, and our hamburger buns, cabbage burgers, and pies are homemade every day. Breakfast is served daily from 8 to 11, with all-you-can-eat pancakes on Saturday. Or join us Friday nights for Burger Fest. Choose from 6 specialty burgers or build your own. And for dessert, make sure you save room for one of our homemade milkshakes. We are worth the drive here at Double L Country Store on Highway 71, just 10 minutes south of the Wildcats.
But and we mentioned it had to be a confidence thing for a moment, but credit Scottsbluff keeping him on the football field up big. There's no way to get your confidence back unless you're out playing football, and that's what they're going to let him do the rest of the way.
Exactly. I think we'll see him a lot in the at least the third quarter, depending on what happens. We also see Keegan Reifschneider getting looked at by the trainer here as they come on, going to put some more wrap on that right hand. So, and you know, he's not going to want to come out of this game no matter what happens. But just some great effort by Scottsbluff on both sides of the ball tonight.
And we saw Garrett Nelson a little banged up, but he appeared to shake those cobwebs out pretty quickly, and he's full speed out, running through some warm-ups before we get started with half number 2. Alliance got beat tonight by the York Dukes, so the defending state champs are on to round 2. Seward with a big lead in their ball game, and Omaha Roncalli was up big on Mount Michael Benedictine, and they would come west to play Scottsbluff next Friday. We'll come back with the second half in just a moment. Scottsbluff leading 62-21 at halftime on the West Coast scoreboard.
This is Jane. She thinks she's just filling her car, but she's also filling the air with cancer-causing toxic chemicals used to boost octane in gas. What doesn't burn in the engine enters the air and your lungs, even your heart and brain. Bad for everyone, especially kids. Ethanol is a natural octane booster, clean burning and non-toxic. More ethanol means less scary stuff in our gas and in the air we breathe. And that makes your choice pretty plain, Jane.
For locations near you, go to huskerfuel.com.
No matter what job I've got to do, my John Deere 5E tractor can do it all. Whether I'm cutting, moving feed, or building a fence. Using my 5E means my work gets done faster at a price I can afford, and that works for me.
Visit 21st Century Equipment in Alliance, Torrington, Scottsbluff, and Bridgeport, or visit
20edb.com. Just about set for the start.
My big secret for designing a quality kitchen on a budget is J&K Cabinetry. They have all the great standard features that my clients love. Solid wood doors and frames, soft close doors and drawers, dovetail joinery. The quality is amazing. J&K Cabinetry has 17 beautiful locations, sells directly to designers, contractors, and dealers, and provides plenty of options for a semi-custom look. But the most important thing is having a satisfied client and just seeing how much they love their kitchen. J&K Cabinetry, a new kitchen around you.
ZM Lumber in Scottsbluff, your local headquarters for J&K Cabinetry.
Steve Lathrop earned the Omaha World Herald endorsement. He showed impressive leadership and energy. He brought people together on complex issues. Lathrop's skills are valuable at a time when consensus building is vital. Community leaders agree.
We trust Steve.
He'll work hard to keep our neighborhood safe.
Fight for our students and public education.
Lower our taxes and healthcare costs.
He'll work with both sides to get things done.
I'm Steve Lathrop, and I would appreciate your vote.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.
Backer spot, shoots a gap and makes the tackle, no gain for Burton.
Demicah Burton, the leading rusher for the Ralston Rams, has been held in check, as we said, at halftime, only 42 yards, and maybe battling a little bit of an injury as he came off in the first half. And so we'll see if they rely on him here in this second half. I don't think they've got time to really establish a running game in this one as they go empty here on second down.
Trips left, twinge right, that's the short side. Harsh from the left edge. They will run it straight ahead. Luke Rohr sticks his face mask in there and tackles Donnell at the 25-yard line, a gain of 2 for Isaac Donnell. And it'll be 3rd down and 8. Ty O'Brien hobbling onto the field from the far sideline. Been a little hobbled tonight as well. Limps out of the huddle. He was their leading receiver coming in as far as catches on the season. Little tight cluster of receivers to the right. They will roll Donnell to that side. Harsh applies pressure, and that ball just lofted towards the sideline. O'Brien, the intended receiver, and now he's down. He's got a big knee brace on that left knee. Scottsbluff trainer James Buck right there to try and help O'Brien out. James Buck immediately down in a crouch to help out O'Brien. You hate to see this. We just mentioned he was hobbling a little bit coming off on, or the far sideline onto the field before that play. And you just hope he's okay. As head coach Jason Frink now over on the Scottsbluff side to take a look at his injured player.
One change defensively, I noticed they put Chris Busby on Michael High that time in that offensive set for Ralston.
Keeping an eye on Ty O'Brien, a 6-foot, 180-pound senior. Coach Fink, Coach Benson, and that's good to see O'Brien up on his feet. Coach Fink and the Ralston trainer will help him across the field to the far side. Let's hope he's okay. And this is the last thing you want to see in a game like this right now. I don't care what side you're rooting for. This is not what you want to see, guys getting banged up in a game that's out of hand.
Exactly, and he's not putting a lot of weight on that as he goes off to the Ralston sideline, so we'll see if he comes back into this game.
Cameron Gary, the lone man, now back to return this punt. Normally you see both Gary and Reifschneider. Jacob Krull, the 11th man onto the field now for the Cats on the punt return team. Gary standing at his own 45-yard line. Clock stops for the injured player. Wind it, clock starts again, 4th and 8, a punting situation now for Ralston. Snap away, high spiraling kick to Gary, calls for a fair catch. Makes it at the 42-yard line. Scottsbluff now will have it for the first time here in the 3rd quarter. Maybe one drive for the starters, I'm guessing, is about all we'll see.
I was just going to say that. I think we'll maybe see these Scottsbluff starters in here for one more series, of course, depending on what happens. If it's a clean drive with no fumbles or interceptions, well.
2 tight ends set, 1st and 10 for Scottsbluff. Motion, and now a flag comes from the near sideline, and you'll wonder if maybe all that motion forced someone from Ralston to jump into the neutral zone. Saw that last week, and that's the case. 5-yard mark off against the Rams defensive unit. Scottsbluff will have it 1st and 5 now. Husker pregame will come bright and early in the morning at 5 a.m. on 960 and 100.3. On 94.1, the Brand will pick up pregame at 9:15. Kickoff in Lincoln against Bethune-Cookman at 10. Handoff to Jacob Krull. Krull running behind his offensive line. Nathan Harms leading the way that time, and not much going for Jacob Krull. A gain of 1 is all for the junior back. Came in averaging 9.9 yards per carry. He's a bit of a home run hitter as the 3rd option carrying the football. Busby and Harsh both well over 100. Harsh up at 177 at halftime. Busby, I believe you said, at 123. 2nd down and 4. Handoff goes to Krull. Krull, middle of the field. He's loose at the 40. 30, Krull to the 20. They won't get him. 10-5, touchdown. 40, make it 52 yards for Jacob Krull with 7:47 to play in the 3rd quarter. And you've got to tackle.
Yep.
Or they're just going to, you can't fault the team for handing the football off and running it into the end zone. You got to make a play if you're Ralston.
I'm sure Scottsbluff's not doing anything they haven't done all season, nothing out of the ordinary.
Caleb Walker boots the PAT, splits the upright, 7:47 to play in the 3rd quarter.
The leaves are turning and the temperatures are cooling, so it's time to come harvest the deals at the Viera Wireless Fall Savings Sale. Right now, get your family high-speed, truly unlimited mobile data for just $35 per line with 4 lines. Prices have never been lower for unlimited data. Plus, trade in your current phone and get up to $500 off the latest iPhone and Samsung models. Those are incredible savings on the most popular and advanced smartphones. Don't miss out on our Fall Savings Sale. Hurry into Viera today.
Kick comes down to Madden. Nice return. Cameron Geary holding on for dear life, and the tackle made out across the 40 at the 41-yard line. Ralston will have it right there. 1st and 10. So Scottsbluff scores on their first drive of the 2nd half. They've got a 69 spot on the old scoreboard here tonight. Round 1 of the Class B playoffs. They lead Ralston 69-21.
I think maybe another area Bearcat coaching staff maybe want to look at a little bit is kickoff return. Ralston's been able to get some good yardage on that and some hard running by Ralston and just some tackles that have not been completed by Scottsbluff.
Little Statue of Liberty play. They hand it to Demika Burton, slips a couple of tackles. Krull, no check that. That's a tackle made, shoving him out of bounds. Burton on the far side. That tackle will go to Connor McCracken, a pickup
of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 now for the Rams. Clock continues to run. Running clock in full effect here in the second half. We'd literally have been here all night if you didn't have a running clock rule. 2nd and 5. Ralston at the line of scrimmage. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 2 backs in the backfield. Donnell. They fake. Nope, they give it to the first back through. That's Burton. Burton across the 50-yard line into Scottsbluff territory at their 47. That's a pickup of 13 and a first down for DeMicah Burton. DeMicah wears number 5. He's a senior. The younger version, Manny Burton, a sophomore, wears number 6. Both in the backfield right now. Michael High has been their monster big play target tonight. He's got 3 receiving touchdowns. He's a single set out to the left. Donnell, straight drop, fires it over the middle. Gary arrives with a nice pass breakup that time. Came with the inside arm, but with the back shoulder to wrap up in case of a possible catch. Textbook defensive back play, excuse me, right there from Cameron Gary.
Ralston keeping 2 backs in the backfield, a little extra added protection for Donnell that time.
69-21, 2 receivers out to each side. Check that, 2 left, trips right, wide side. They'll motion to Micah Burton. There's that 6, Manny, I believe that's Manny. They're gonna drop him into the flat. Throw over the middle. DeMicah Burton on the catch inside the Scottsbluff 30. Tackled it around the 27-yard line. And that'll be a pickup of 20 yards as Donnell gets the ball to DeMicah Burton for a pickup of 20. That'll move the chains for the Ralston Rams. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Clock continues to run here in the third quarter. Scottsbluff well on their way to round 2. That would be down to the round of 8. Minutair won earlier in 6-man. Rough day for them offensively as they scored just 81 points. They've been averaging 89 over their last 3. Two of their last 4, and I believe got a encroachment penalty. Someone into the neutral zone right there for Scottsbluff, and I think that was Hazel Mendoza, the sophomore maybe. Showing blitz. Hopping across the line of scrimmage, so a free 5 for Ralston. And I think there they go. They got the clock going again. It almost feels like in some situations, Jeff, whatever even the clock stoppage rules are with the running clock, there's some games it just feels like it should never stop.
Yep.
Donnell, multiple defenders, and that's a touchdown. Magdaleno and Gary got beat on that deep ball. We have a flag?
Oh yeah, we got a flag down.
Back at around the 35-yard line. We'll see if this play holds. If it does, it would be a 27-yard touchdown pass, but it will not stand. A holding call against Ralston. Wipe away the touchdown pass to Krajewski.
Once again, Krajewski with a couple of steps. Got behind the Scottsbluff defenders, 2 of them that time.
Jake McClain, the defensive coordinator for the Cats, out on the field barking some instructions to his guys. First down and 15 now for Ralston. 3:40 to play in the third quarter. Cats show blitz. They come off the edges. Donnell escapes some pressure. Mendoza can't stop him for the sack, and now just tossed across the middle of the field. What a play by Isaac Donnell. That's going to go for a gain of about 8. He ran probably 40 or 50 yards on that play. The catch made by Apreza Guzman. Give him 8, and that'll make it 2nd down and about 7 right now for Ralston. Nick Mogg comes off. Scottsbluff with a bunch of at least about half starters on the field defensively still. Under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Demicah Burton. Oh, that's the younger Burton, Manny. Tackled by Jack Darnell. Pickup of 2 yards for Manny Burton. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 5 now for Ralston. Ralston will finish up their season with a record of 4-6 when things are completed here tonight. Scottsbluff would reach double digits in the win column, 10-0. And they will get set to take on the Omaha Roncalli Club that was up big earlier tonight on Mount Michael Benedictine. There's a little screen play. This could go for a touchdown. We've got a flag down at the 22 as Demicah Burton scampers into the end zone. That would be a 27-yard touchdown pass, but a flag down. And you've got big number 57, Joe Lubida, looking a little frustrated with himself. Either a man downfield, maybe? Nope, holding.
And it could have also maybe been ineligible downfield on those screen passes like that. Somebody gets down there a little bit too soon, but even though they're second teamers in for the Bearcats, they're still getting some good pressure. That previous couple plays ago by Donnell, that was all him on that play. He was able to reverse his field and come back and find an open receiver, but Scottsbluff had 3 defenders back there chasing him.
1 minute and 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. Manny Burton makes it trips right. Demicah Burton moves to the right of Donnell. They're going to set up another screen pass. This one down at the ankles of Demicah Burton. Incomplete, and it'll be 4th down. And about 16 or so now for Ralston. We will reach the fourth quarter here momentarily. Caleb Walker's on. Evan Hegem's on. Also out there defensively is Brian Galindo. Carson Melke. Linebackers. Inside linebacker Ethan Holly. Mentioned Mendoza. Some of the regulars in the secondary. Mendoza blitzes up the middle. They come off the edge. Jump ball, and Jacob Krull intercepts it at the 5. Krull's going to look to make something happen in the return game here after the INT. Reverses field, still on his feet, out to around the 25, make it 26 or 27-yard line. An interception for Jacob Krull, a 22-yard or so return, and immediately I saw Joe Benson hold up to offensive coordinator Judd Hall, signaling he wants the second unit in offensively. 32 seconds to play after the interception and the return by Jake Krull. Scottsbluff will take over at their own 27-yard line. 28 seconds, clock now runs again. 69-21 the lead for the Scottsbluff High Bearcats here tonight at home against Ralston. Brett Hill, one of the backup quarterbacks into the game. Evan Hegem is a hard-running sophomore, and he takes the football out to around the 36-yard line, a gain of 8 to make it 2nd down and 2. That'll be the final snap of the third quarter. We're through 3 quarters of play here tonight at Bearcat Stadium. A rout in favor of the Bearcats. They lead Ralston 6.
At Elite Physical Therapy, we provide preventative and rehabilitative treatments that maximize function and promote well-being for patients of all ages. With 2 locations in Scottsbluff and Gearing, we offer the convenience of you choosing your location with the same great services no matter where you go. Stop into one of our locations today, in Scottsbluff at 214 West 27th Street or in Gearing at 10th and M Street, and see what Elite Physical Therapy can do for you. Treatment you need and care you deserve.
Care Heilbronn, State Farm agent, is here to protect all the moving parts of your life. With auto, home, life, and financial services, Care Heilbronn and her team make it simple to bring together what matters to you.
fourth quarter action here at Bearcat Stadium tonight on KNEB.TV, 101.7 The Trail, and KNEB.com. Poor snap back to Brent Hill, and he has to range off to his left to fall on that football and keep Scottsbluff with the possession. A dominant effort tonight for the Bearcats. And at this point of this evening, it feels like a little bit of a letdown from a week ago when everything was just so magnified every snap. And right now, Scottsbluff dominating a round one playoff game, as we thought many of these first round games in Class B would be tonight. After the fumbled snap, it was 3rd down and 9. Evan Hegum charging for an 8-yard gain off right tackle, and will be a 4th down and short now for Scottsbluff, and they'll just keep the offensive unit out there. Clock will, of course, continue to run. Caleb Walker in at the halfback right side. Brandon Hernandez, the up back. And they will give it off to Hegum. Hegum's going to fall forward. Needed one, got 2. Football just shy of the 40. First down on the 2-yard pickup for Evan Hegum. Into the game, Jairo Rodriguez now along the offensive line. Also checking in is Trayton Travnicek up front. Into the game at a tight end spot is Brock Nikon. As Scottsbluff is clearing the bench here in the fourth quarter.
That's what you like to see in a playoff game. You know, up this much, get these younger kids in there and get them some experience in this playoff scenario.
Hill now milking the play clock, fakes the handoff to Hegum. Hill keeps it, and he'll be stopped for no gain right there at the 40-yard line. A little over 2 minutes gone by, another substitution. Jackson Escom, a 5'9", 170-pound sophomore, checks in. Coming out is Kyler Couts, an offensive line starter. Looks like his night probably complete. 2nd down and 10 for Scottsbluff. Hill checking the back, Judge waiting on the signal on the play clock. Game clock's at 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Hill hands to Hegum. Hegum is a big cat running near side. He picks up 2. And they'll give him 1. 1 on the carry for Hegum. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Evan Hegum is 6 feet 205, a sophomore. Going to be a dandy. Another sophomore who's made a big impression the second portion of the season has been Nick Mogg.
That's how you build a program. These younger kids that get into situations like this late in games, they want to show you what they can do, and just gives them more confidence and more to build on the future.
8.5 minutes to play in the football game tonight. Ralston's going to have a long bus trip home. Caleb Walker stutter steps on the defender, now reverses field, and that's going to be a big loss for Caleb Walker. Trying to make something happen, but line of scrimmage that time was the Scottsbluff 41-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 33, so a loss of 8 on the carry for Caleb Walker. 4th down and long, and Scottsbluff will punt it away now with Cameron Geary. Geary on the year has averaged 35.5 yards per punt. He's dropped 4 inside the 20. I think all 4 of those came in the first few weeks of the season. Hadn't been a lot of punting going on for Scottsbluff over the last month plus. Spiraling kick, coming back a little bit. Now a nice friendly roll for Geary and the Bearcats down to around the 26-yard line. 41-yard punt for Geary. And Ralston will take over with 7 minutes and 22 seconds to play in this game. We'll have the Runs a post-game show coming up afterwards. Taco John's player of the game. Wrap up our night with a look at the statistics brought to you by Arby's.
Another long road trip for a team from the eastern part of the state next week.
Omaha Roncalli will make the long drive out. I'm not sure if Ralston came halfway or part of the way last night and finished off the drive today, get in at a comfortable time, stretch the legs, and try to be ready to play some football. You could say all you want about a long drive, but bottom line tonight, Jeff, this was just a mismatch on the football field as far as talent.
I think so. You can't blame it on too much time on the bus or anything like that. Scottsbluff came in with a mission, and they definitely accomplished that mission in the first 12 minutes of this game.
Yeah, Ralston just happened to be the team wearing the opposite colors here tonight. Scottsbluff is playing great football over the last 2 weeks. There is no doubt about that. Donnell on the keep, a little option pitch, and falling on the football. The backup running back is Gabe James, 5'9", 185. Coming into play, James, their third leading rusher with 184 yards on the season. That'll go as a loss of 6 on the play for James. Second down and 16, coming up on 5.5 minutes to play in the game. The running clock, and time's been flying off the scoreboard here in this fourth quarter. Trips left, no backs, 2 receivers to the right. Apreza Guzman, the wide receiver here out left. They set up a little middle screen, skipping the ball too high. That'll be an incompletion. Donnell trying to hit his big play target, Michael High. They had that stretch in the first half that kind of opened up everybody's eyes and definitely woke people up if they'd started to get a little comfortable on the Scottsbluff sideline. They scored on 3 straight snaps, did of Ralston. All touchdown passes from Donnell to High. Pair of seniors.
And the Scottsbluff Bearcats, I think, have put this one away. Derek Deaver coming out of the press box. He's down on the sidelines now.
Under 5 to go in the game. Everybody milking the play clock. Snap to Donnell. Donnell looking middle. Now he puts the ball back under his, tucks it, moves right, throws far side. Good play there defensively to break it up. James Bruner, a 6', 150-pound sophomore, younger brother of former Scottsbluff starting quarterback and safety Noah Bruner, who at least is following along on Twitter tonight. I saw that. Good chance Noah, one of the great kids here at Scottsbluff over the last few years, is watching this one tonight. Todd Mangini, also up in the coach's box, has made his way down to the sideline. Good vibes everywhere, but look, the coaching doesn't stop.
Nope.
Look at Coach Deaver talking it up with Cameron Geary. They're talking about footwork in the secondary. He's got his left hand. I think in a pinch, in a spot where, you know, you're in the heat of battle and you needed to go to a backup, it would be Magdaleno on in place of Harsh if that situation came up. But with where we're at in this game, easy to get Brett Hill onto the field. Hill, a 150-pound sophomore, and always strikes me as a heady football player. And he's got time to get into games this year. Scottsbluff continues to milk the clock, under 3 minutes to play. Handoff goes to Hegum. Hegum stopped at the 30, a gain of 1 for Evan Hegum. And folks have decided to head for the exits here tonight.
Little trivia question out there for those of you listening. Roncalli wasn't always known as Roncalli. What was their former high school name?
You've got the answer. I don't here, Jeff. I'll be curious. I know they've got some great-looking helmets.
Yeah.
Michigan.
The Crimson Pride of Omaha Roncalli.
2 minutes and 12 seconds to play. It's been fun having Jeff in the booth tonight. Did a great job all season long covering the Gering High Bulldogs and first-year head coach Josh Hyatt. Snap, handoff as Hill puts it in the belly of Calvin Fleming, a 140-pound junior. We will check schedules next week. We'll have sub-district volleyball on Tuesday at Alliance. They'll be the top seed. It'll be a one-night event. Alliance and Scottsbluff, I believe, the early match at 4. 5:30 for Gearing and Sydney. And then the winners play at 7 o'clock. And the district winner would then play in the district final on Saturday morning. I know for last year, Gearing did make it as a wild card, and they wound up way back east in Omaha. And that was the morning after Scottsbluff got beat by York and had their season come to a close. We'll have that Tuesday night. Friday, Minutair and Hyannis at Minutair, and Scottsbluff hosting Roncalli. Hand off to Anselmo Camacho, the sophomore stump behind the line of scrimmage. It'll be a loss of about 4 on the play. For Camacho, we go under 1 minute to go in this game. Runs a post-game show will be coming up here shortly. Take a look at final numbers. More than likely visit with offensive coordinator Judd Hall.
And the answer to the trivia question, Omaha Rummel.
So
Rummel.
When did that change?
I don't know. When back in the day when I was there, they were the Rummel Rebels. And then they were an all-boys school at the time, and then they switched and became a co-ed school sometime, I would guess, in the 80s. I don't know if someone knows that, but they used to be an all-boy school called Rummel.
Good stuff there
you
from
go.
Jeff Kelly.
Yeah, Omaha Public Schools education served me well.
And I believe Mount Michael Benedictine, the team they beat tonight, an all-boys school.
Right, yep.
10 seconds to play. A delay of game penalty called against Scottsbluff. Jeff, that is good mop-up time material right there. From Omaha Rummel to Omaha Roncalli. I love those helmets they come out here with next week. Low snap to Gary. Gary will just tuck it and boot it away as the horn sounds. The final score here tonight, as the play finally whistled dead. Final score 69-21. We'll have the Runs of Postgame show coming up. A pretty benign, quiet second half. And that's good news on all fronts for both these teams here tonight. Scottsbluff, a tremendous offensive performance in the first half. They scored 62. Final tonight, 69-21. Scottsbluff a winner overall.
Being an Allo customer just got even better. 3 times better, in fact. We've tripled our standard internet speed from 100 to 300 megs at no additional cost to you. This isn't one of those limited time offers that will melt away either. 3 times the streaming, 3 times the gaming, 3 times the uploading, all for the same price. Why? Because we love our customers. Allo, no gimmicks, no limits, no kidding, and still no contracts.
95% of American corn farms are family-owned.
Farmers grow 70% more corn per ounce of fertilizer than just 35 years ago.
The energy to grow a bushel of corn has dropped by 37% over the past 30 years.
Farmers have cut soil erosion by 44% through new tillage methods.
This is sustaining innovation, and it's how Nebraska corn farmers are growing more with less. On the web at nebraskacorn.org.
Being an Allo customer just got even better. 3 times better, in fact.
We've tripled our standard internet speed from 100 to 300 megs at no additional cost to you. This isn't one of those limited time offers that will melt away either. 3 times the streaming, 3 times the gaming, 3 times the uploading, all for the same price. Why? Because we love our customers. Allo, no gimmicks, no limits, no kidding, and still no contracts.
Steve Lathrop earned the Omaha World Herald endorsement. He showed impressive leadership and energy. He brought people together on complex issues. Lathrop's skills are valuable at a time when consensus building is vital. Community leaders agree.
We trust Steve.
He'll work hard to keep our neighborhoods safe.
Fight for our students and public education.
Lower our taxes and healthcare costs.
He'll work with both sides to get things done.
I'm Steve Lathrop, and I would appreciate your vote.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.
The homestanding Scottsbluff Bearcats, they'll move on to take on Omaha Roncalli coming up next Friday night. Well, let's get to it. It's going to take a moment. The scoring recap, and we'll start with just a minute gone by in the first quarter. Sebastian Harsh, a 13-yard touchdown run. Kick made it 7-0 Scottsbluff. Scottsbluff again with Harsh from 40 yards out, 5:56 to play in the opening quarter. Caleb Walker's kick made it 14-0. Still first quarter, 4:13 to play, a pick six for Keegan Reifschneider. The intercepts the ball from Isaac Donnell. Interception return for a touchdown. PAT 21-0 Scottsbluff. They'd make it 28-0 before the end of the first quarter. 22 seconds to play. Chris Busby finally gets into the act. A 1-yard touchdown run. I say that somewhat facetiously. He'd stay in the act. Opening moments of the second quarter, 10:32 to play. Busby runs one in from 53 yards out. Then Donnell, the first score of the night for Ralston, he connects with Michael High, a 29-yard touchdown pass, 35-7 at that point, 9:23 to play in the first half, 6:44 to play in the half. Busby, another 1-yard touchdown run, 42-7 after the PAT. Second straight play from scrimmage that Ralston scored. Opening play of the next drive, 6:26 to play in the half. Donnell to High, 66 yards for the touchdown. 5:14 to play in the second quarter. 8-yard touchdown rumble for Sebastian Harsh. Kick was no good for Walker, 48-14. And then the great oddity in the game tonight, 69-21 the final. All three of those touchdowns for Ralston came on 3 consecutive plays. Donnell to High, this time covering 67 yards. Busby before halftime with 4:04 to play from 13 yards. Harsh before halftime with 1 minute and 27 seconds to play. Hits Reifschneider a 26-yard TD strike. 62-21, that was the score at halftime. Just one score in the second half. Midway through the third quarter, basically 7:47 to play, a running clock throughout in the second half. Jacob Krull sprinted 47 yards to pay dirt, and that wrapped up the scoring on the PAT. The final tonight, 69-21. Scottsbluff wins big at home over Ralston. We'll come back with a look at some of the final post-game numbers and get a visit with one of the Scottsbluff coaches.
Regional West is one of 3 Level 2 trauma centers in Nebraska.
We have all the resources here 24 hours a day to address any traumatic injury.
From emergency medical services to advanced medical imaging and surgery to acute care and rehabilitation.
It's comforting to know that if an accident happens here, our families, our friends, our neighbors, and even we ourselves will get expert trauma care and rehabilitation services right here at Regional West.
Being an Allo customer just got even better. 3 times better, in fact. We've tripled our standard internet speed from 100 to 300 megs at no additional cost to you. This isn't one of those limited time offers that will melt away either. 3 times the streaming, 3 times the gaming, 3 times the uploading, all for the same price. Why? Because we love our customers. Allo, no gimmicks, no limits, no kidding, and still no contracts.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and
when we try and control the ball, don't turn it over, and score when you have an opportunity. That's a good recipe for success on the offensive side of the ball.
And I think coming off of last week's performance, the number one thing that I saw was just a complete carryover from every unit on the field offensively, from O-line to the back, Sebastian, receivers making plays, and it looked like just you picked up where you left off the week ago.
Yep, and I think we're playing good offensive football, actually good football in all 3 phases of the game this time of year, and that's good. But offensively, they're an aggressive, gambling style of defense, and I think that's a real difficult scheme to run against us, because if you have one guy out of position, we have guys that'll make you pay, and I think that you saw a little bit of that tonight.
Yeah, we had Chris and Sebastian just shy of 300 yards combined rushing in the first half. Bash had 177 and Chris had 123. I think they combined for 7 rushing touchdowns tonight. So as ridiculous as this sounds, sort of status quo for your 2 big dogs in the backfield.
Well, we're gonna lean on those guys. They've been leaders for us all year, and we're gonna just keep running behind the big guys up front that continue to get better. So we know who we are, we know what we want to do, and hopefully that just is a good stepping stone for the next couple of weeks.
I want to pick your brain a little bit. The real oddity in the game tonight was they scored on their 3 touchdowns came on 3 consecutive snaps, all touchdown passes to the same kid. All 3 went over top of Paris Magdaleno. He's an aggressive player. He's a kid you guys count on. What's the thought process as a coaching staff? I know you're not going to speak for Coach McClain, but what were kind of the conversations like trying to get him mentally checked back in and ready to play good football?
And that was a scouting report thing. We knew that number 8 was a fantastic wide receiver, and number 3 is every bit as good as the Terry kid from GI Northwest and the McCook kid that we saw last week. He's a great athlete. So it's just one of those things that they practice all week. They're going to make plays. So we just kept telling them to go out and compete and win the next play. As a defensive back, you can't live in the past, because if you do, something bad's going to happen again. So you just got to move on, compete, and try and win the next play. And that was our message to our entire team as we kept going throughout the second half.
And we were talking before we came back from commercial to get this segment started. At some point, you're starting to look around in this second half and saying to yourself, we just got to get this thing over with, get out of here healthy, and move on to round 2.
Yep, we just got done telling that to our kids after the game. This time of year, you've been doing it for a long time. Staying healthy, taking care of your bodies is the most important thing that you can do this weekend. So hopefully they take that to heart, go home, get some rest, recover Saturday and Sunday, and then come back on Monday ready to work, because whoever it is next week, it's going to be a chore.
Read in the paper a little bit about the experience factor for you guys. I see it at practice when I'm over there on Wednesdays. The leaders talking to the team in the huddle before you guys break and wrap things up. The experience level of this group, you got a lot of upperclassmen, a lot of guys that have been there, done that, and you know what? A lot of guys that probably feel like they want a little bit more after the last couple of years.
Absolutely. You always want to finish the season with a win. Unfortunately, there's only one team that gets to finish the season with a win. But that should be your goal. If you're not a competitor, if you're not somebody that wants to strive to be the best, this might not be the right sport for you. But we have a lot of guys that feel that way, want to compete at the highest level, and if we continue to take care of business, we might get that opportunity.
Jeff, you got anything for Coach
I was just gonna ask Judd, how much did last week's game against McCook kind of get you set up for this? I mean, you kind of breeze through the previous 8 games of your schedule. You get up against the top team, and knowing that win or lose, you're still going to make the playoffs. But that was a tough, hard-fought game last week.
Yep, and it's it was a great measuring stick game to see where exactly we were at. Like you said, we had kind of been able to get a lot of kids playing time. Played a lot of different players throughout the season. But it was nice to get our core guys a full game, see where we're at, see where we or how good we can be, I guess, last week. And we were fortunate to win that game, fortunate to win tonight, and we'll just see what happens as we go forward.
Roncalli, a 44-8 winner against Elkhorn Mount Michael tonight, so they'll come out a confident bunch, and that's a team I just don't know a whole lot about. Do you know much about them?
With Scout and Ralston, we were able to see Roncalli on film. They played each other a couple 3 weeks ago. I know they have a tremendous athlete.
Is that Isaac Rogers?
I can't remember what his name is. Kid that's going to Nebraska to play baseball. Phenomenal athlete on both sides of the ball. They're an aggressive style on defense, similar to Ralston tonight. They'll spread you out on offense, like to throw it. Quarterback's got 1,400 yards, 1,500 yards throwing this year. It's going to be a battle. We better be locked in all week in practice if that's who has to or who we have to play. But I'm glad we're at home again.
After what many expected would be in Class B tonight, maybe some mismatches on the scoreboard and talent-wise, it feels like next week you have to buckle down and things get serious in a hurry.
Yeah, if the bracket held true tonight, next week's games are going to be great football games.
We're looking forward to it already. That's offensive coordinator Judd Hall. Another tremendous performance tonight. 62 on the first half. They finished with a 69-21 win over Ralston. Coach, tremendous effort. Congratulations, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Final score, 69-21. We'll come back with more on the Runs of Post-Game Show.
Have you heard the exciting news? Western Nebraska Regional Airport will be offering flights with United Airlines operated by SkyWest beginning January 30th, 2018. What's even better? You'll get to earn and use your United points. Reservations with United are now available. Plus, all United miles can be earned and redeemed with all flights. While you're at Western Nebraska Regional Airport, grab a bite to eat at the Flight Deck restaurant. Plus, Hearst Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. So make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Always appreciate offensive coordinator Judd Hall stumping up for a post-game conversation here on the Runs of Post-Game Show. We've given you the scoring recap. Scottsbluff a winner 69-21. Jeff, I'll turn things over to you for a look at our post-game rundown on the numbers, brought to you by Arby's, the meat crafters throughout western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming.
And once again, very unofficial numbers, but we've got Demicah Burton, 10 carries tonight, 60 yards for him. Isaac Donnell, 5 carries for 25 yards. Max Wells, 1 carry for a -1. Madden for Ralston, 1 carry for 9 yards. And Manny Burton, 2 carries for 18 yards tonight. Unofficially, Isaac Donnell, I've got him down 9 out of 25, 2 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 185 yards through the air for him. On the receiving side, Michael Haig, of course, the 3 touchdown catches for him, 120 yards for him in receptions. Jordan Apriza Guzman, 2 receptions for 8 yards. Demicah Burton with 1 reception for 20 yards. And Krakowski with 1 catch for 37 yards on the Ralston side. For Scottsbluff here tonight, led in rushing, Sebastian Harsh, 10 carries, 177 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But for Chris Busby, a little bit behind him. He had 12 carries, 153 yards, but 4 touchdowns for Chris tonight. Just an impressive performance by both of those Bearcats. Jacob Krull, 4 carries for 76 yards. Josiah Diolos, 1 carry for 14 yards. And then some of the younger kids, Hagum with 5 carries for 20 yards tonight. Brett Hill with 2 carries for a -8. Walker with a carry for a minus yardage. And Camacho with 1 carry for minus yardage tonight. Sebastian Harsh, 113 yards in the air. He was 5 out of 9 tonight with 1 touchdown for him tonight. Keegan Reifschneider with the 1 touchdown catch for 59 yards. He also had the pick 6 for another touchdown. And Darnell with 1 catch for 40 yards. And I think I missed one with a couple of receptions in there. But it's 69-21. As you said, with the scoring recap and the stats, it was coming fast and furious tonight.
It sure was. Scottsbluff a big winner tonight, 69-21. Come back to wrap things up. We'll get to our Taco John's player of the game as well.
What are you waiting for? A 6-year limited powertrain warranty? Savings on performance-matched implements? 0% APR financing for up to 5 years? Head down to your local Kubota dealer before September 30th and take advantage of this incredible offer on the BX Series, America's best-selling subcompact tractor. Kubota. This is what we do.
Come into Sandberg Implement, your local Kubota dealer.
Your local Kubota dealer is Sandberg Implement in Gering. Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.
Back on the Runs of Post-Game Show, Chris Cottrell, my partner tonight, Jeff Kelly, did a fine job as always. Great to have Jeff along on the broadcast. Let's get to our Taco John's player of the game. Taco John's of Scottsbluff and Gary make Taco John's a game day tradition. Unwrap the original before or after every game. We're going to go with a junior tonight. It's a name you know, Sebastian Harsh, the quarterback, had 1 touchdown pass, 3 touchdown runs. He had 177 yards rushing at halftime. Was that the number he finished with?
Yep,
is that right?
Yep.
No need to risk any of that, those numbers, that body, or anything else with the second half here tonight. Harsh outstanding, 177 on the ground. The touchdown pass to Reifschneider. Reifschneider, an honorable mention, the pick 6.
I was just going to say.
And the touchdown catch, and hopefully that hand's okay. We clearly saw him a little, not hobbled, but protecting that right hand. He had a heavy wrap on it. I noticed that when I was talking to him down during warm-ups on the field beforehand tonight. So I think everybody kind of got out of here at least as healthy as they entered. And in a situation like that, that's always a key when you're up big and you've still got to put guys on the field and play a little football. I know I'm just curious. You've seen some of the better teams in Class B. You were at Alliance in Week 1 when Alliance played York. You called that game for our station in York. You also saw Seward against Gering as well. Thoughts on what you saw tonight from Scottsbluff compared to teams like that?
You know, I think Scottsbluff is as advertised, and you hear the rumors, you see the stories in the paper, you see the scores, and we've seen Seward. We talked about their quarterback, and he's the real deal. And I think he's got a walk-on offer from Nebraska, and he can do it with his feet and with his arm, and he's going to be a load to handle if Scottsbluff has to go up against Seward. We talked about York a little bit. You talk Snodgrass and those kids, and they're the real deal also. And an impressive performance by them to start the season off with Alliance. They won that one pretty handily, as I think was expected. But Alliance has improved throughout the season too. But I think Scottsbluff stacks up with any of those teams: the Yorks, the Grand Island Northwest, the Sewards, even any of those teams. I don't think Scottsbluff has to take a backseat to any of them from what I saw out here tonight.
Yeah, well, you saw them in high gear, that's for sure, just to carry over from last week's win against McCook. Jeff, it's been fun having you up here tonight. Appreciate all your hard work this season, covering the Gering High Bulldogs, handling some softball and some volleyball. We sure love having you on the KNB sports team. So great job all season long. Good to have you up here in the booth tonight at Bearcat Stadium. Final score 69-21. Scottsbluff moves to round 2. They'll host Omaha Roncalli coming up here next Friday night we assume. Might hear something from Activities Director Dave Hawksworth a little bit later on tonight or first thing in the morning on a possible start time for next Friday's game against Roncalli, making the long trip from Omaha. Final score 69-21. Scottsbluff wins it tonight. They scored 62 in the first half. For Jeff, I'm Chris. Great job, as always, by our TV squad tonight with Justin and TJ leading the way, all the camera folks involved, and Olivia and Kirsten back at the KNB studios tonight, getting us on and off the air and everything else in between. Great job by all involved. Scottsbluff included a big win, 69-21. Husker football pregame starts tomorrow bright and early at 5 on 960 100.3. Kickoff at 10. We'll have things starting on the brand at 9:15. That'll do it from Bearcat Stadium here tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Buyers Realty has been helping people in the community find their dream home since 1994. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, our friendly staff will put in the work to help you reach the finish line. We also do property management for buildings in Scottsbluff, Gering, and beyond. You can find an extensive list of our properties by visiting our website at callbuyersrealty.com. Or you can visit our Scottsbluff offices on Avenue B, right next to Bumper to Bumper. Panhandle's best, Buyers Realty. Community strong, community proud. We have what you're looking for.
Coverage of today's playoff game is brought to you in part by Bluff Sanitary Supply for all your cleaning and janitorial needs downtown Scottsbluff. Hahn Nelson Real Estate. Let the real estate experts at Hahn Nelson Real Estate help you find your home. 633-3333. And by Regional West Physicians Clinic Urgent Care. Convenient, immediate, and compassionate walk-in health care. Open 7 days a week. Urgent Care, located on Avenue B.